Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we begin the final adventure of j.k. Rowling's magical saga with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. This book stands apart from the rest. It's darker, more mature, and takes us beyond the familiar walls of Hogwarts into a world gripped by fear and resistance. The wizarding world is on the brink of total collapse as Voldemort tightens his control, and Harry, Ron, and Hermione step into the unknown to finish what Dumbledore began. The story opens at Malfoy Manor, where Voldemort gathers his Death Eaters for a chilling council. This scene immediately signals the book's shift in tone. No longer are we following events from within Hogwarts' safety. Here, Voldemort demonstrates his cruelty, takes Lucius Malfoy's wand, and discusses Harry's impending capture. This sets the stage for a book where Voldemort's power is organized, strategic, and terrifyingly real. Meanwhile, at Privet Drive, Harry prepares to leave the Dursleys for the last time. His room is filled with reminders of his journey, photos, old letters, magical objects, and there's a weight of finality in the air. The protective enchantments will soon expire, and his departure marks the beginning of a mission that will take him far from everything familiar. The Ministry of Magic is under siege, society is collapsing, and trust is scarce. Harry, Ron, and Hermione understand that they must destroy Voldemort's Horcruxes, the key to his immortality, but they have only fragments of clues left by Dumbledore. Unlike previous years, there is no clear path or mentor. Their journey is filled with uncertainty, requiring them to rely on each other like never before. The trio attend Bill and Fleur's wedding, one of the last joyful events before chaos strikes. The celebration is interrupted by the shocking news that the Ministry has fallen. Death Eaters swoop in, forcing Harry, Ron, and Hermione to flee into hiding. The Ministry of Magic is under siege, society is collapsing, and trust is scarce. Harry, Ron, and Hermione understand that they must destroy Voldemort's Horcruxes, the key to his immortality, but they have only fragments of clues left by Dumbledore. Unlike previous years, there is no clear path or mentor. Their journey is filled with uncertainty, requiring them to rely on each other like never before. The trio attend Bill and Fleur's wedding, one of the last joyful events before chaos strikes. The celebration is interrupted by the shocking news that the Ministry has fallen. Death Eaters swoop in, forcing Harry, Ron, and Hermione to flee into hiding. From that moment onward, their quest becomes a grueling hunt across forests, countryside, and magical hideouts, as they piece together the truth about Dumbledore's past, the Horcruxes, and ultimately the Deathly Hallows, three legendary objects that could change everything. This book delves deeply into themes of death and choice. Characters face their greatest fears, loyalties are tested, and secrets are unveiled. Friendships are strained under the pressure of isolation and danger. At the same time, Harry matures into a leader who must make impossible decisions, guided by his love for those he's lost and his determination to protect the living. The mystery of the Deathly Hallows adds a mythical layer to the story. The Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, and the Invisibility Cloak, together symbolized by a simple triangle, circle, and line, represent power, resurrection, and concealment. Understanding their true meaning becomes central to Harry's path. The book crescendos toward the Battle of Hogwarts, where all threads converge in a breathtaking finale. Characters we've grown with over 7 books return to face Voldemort's forces, sacrifices are made, and destinies are fulfilled. Harry's final confrontation with Voldemort brings closure not just to his story but to the entire wizarding world's struggle between light and darkness. Key moments in the book introduction include Voldemort consolidating his power and plotting Harry's downfall, Harry leaving Privet Drive for the final time, the trio embarking on the Horcrux hunt, the fall of the Ministry and their escape after the wedding. Discovery of the Deathly Hallows and Dumbledore's secrets, the build up to the climactic Battle of Hogwarts. Book versus movie differences. The book provides far more emotional and strategic depth, especially during the trio's months on the run, their conversations about Dumbledore, and the full explanation of the Deathly Hallows legend. Several characters and subplots, like Ted Tonks's group, Lupin's arc, and the depth of Dumbledore's backstory, are either cut or heavily condensed in the film, making the novel's introduction essential for understanding the stakes. That's our introduction to Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the grand finale of this extraordinary saga. This book blends myth, emotion, and high-stakes adventure, bringing every thread together for a stunning conclusion. Speech Balloon, tell us, which Deathly Hallow would you choose and why? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Boundless Books. Next up, Chapter 1, The Dark Lord Ascending. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Dark Lord Ascending. This chilling opening sets the tone for the entire book, pulling us deep into Voldemort's world as the final battle draws near. While Harry prepares for his mission, Voldemort is already plotting his move and his cruelty is on full display. The chapter begins in the dead of night at Malfoy Manor, which has become Voldemort's new headquarters. The once elegant home is now a place of terror, dominated by the Dark Lord's presence. The scene opens with Severus Snape and Yaxley, another Death Eater, arriving at the gates and making their way through the grounds. The house is heavily guarded with magical protections, reflecting Voldemort's growing paranoia and control. Inside the grand drawing room, Voldemort holds a meeting with his Death Eaters seated around a long table. At the head of the table sits the Dark Lord himself, pale and snake-like, radiating power and menace. Directly above the table, suspended in midair, is Charity Burbage, the Muggle Studies professor from Hogwarts. She has been captured for her outspoken support of Muggleborns. Voldemort immediately takes control of the conversation. He questions Snape and Yaxley about the timing of Harry Potter's departure from Privet Drive. Snape, who has earned Voldemort's trust, provides accurate information that Harry will be moved on Saturday night, just before his 17th birthday, when his protective enchantments will expire. Yaxley claims that the Ministry has been infiltrated and that they might delay Harry's departure, but Voldemort ultimately trusts Snape's intelligence more. The discussion turns to the Ministry of Magic, where Voldemort plans to install Pious Thickness under the Imperious Curse, ensuring the Ministry falls under his control. He wants to seize power subtly, without an open battle, to maintain the illusion of legitimacy while spreading fear. One of the most chilling moments comes when Voldemort addresses Lucius Malfoy. Once proud and powerful, Lucius now sits broken and fearful, his wand confiscated by Voldemort. Voldemort mocks him mercilessly, showing how far the Malfoys have fallen from their former status. Narcissa watches in silence, clearly terrified, while Draco avoids Voldemort's gaze, forced to witness the Dark Lord's cruelty firsthand. Voldemort then reveals he needs a wand other than his own to kill Harry Potter, as his wand and Harry share the same core, making them equals. He demands Lucius's wand, and Lucius, humiliated, is forced to hand it over. This act symbolizes Voldemort's total domination over the Malfoy family. The meeting reaches its climax when Voldemort turns his attention to Charity Burbage, who pleads with Severus Snape for help. Voldemort coldly delivers a speech condemning her views that Muggleborns should be treated as equals, calling her a traitor to the wizarding race. Without hesitation, he casts Avada Kedavra, killing her in front of everyone. Her body falls onto the table, and Nagini is commanded to devour her, solidifying the horrific atmosphere. This opening chapter is a masterclass in tension and sets the tone for the book. Voldemort is organized, terrifying, and ready to strike. His forces are united, the Ministry is vulnerable, and Harry is their ultimate target. Key moments in the chapter include Voldemort's meeting at Malfoy Manor, establishing it as his new headquarters, Snape providing the accurate date of Harry's departure, proving his value to Voldemort, discussion of infiltrating the Ministry of Magic through Pious Thickness, Lucius Malfoy's humiliation, as Voldemort takes his wand and undermines his status, the execution of Charity Burbage and Nagini's gruesome involvement. Voldemort's plan to use a different wand to kill Harry Potter. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, the Death Eater meeting is far more detailed and takes place at Malfoy Manor, with a slow, sinister build-up. The movie opens with a similar meeting but changes some dialogue and focuses more on visual horror than strategic planning. Charity Burbage's character and her plea to Snape are much more fleshed out in the book, giving her death greater emotional weight. The book emphasizes Lucius's humiliation more deeply, setting up the Malfoys' fractured loyalty later in the story. Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows is a dark, powerful opening that throws us directly into Voldemort's world. It sets the stage for the final conflict, reveals critical strategic moves, and shows how fear has fully taken root in the wizarding world. What did you think of Voldemort's cold, calculated leadership in this chapter? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for Chapter 2. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 2 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled In Memoriam. This chapter is quieter and more reflective, taking us deep inside Harry's thoughts as he prepares to leave Privet Drive for the last time. It explores his memories of Dumbledore, his doubts, and the uncertain path ahead. The chapter opens in Harry's bedroom at 4 Privet Drive. It's late at night, and the house is silent. Harry has just finished packing his belongings in preparation for his imminent departure from the Dursleys' home. Hedwig watches him from her cage, and the room is filled with newspaper clippings, old issues of the Daily Prophet, and mementos from his years at Hogwarts. It's clear that Harry is both physically and emotionally preparing for a major transition. Harry begins rereading an article titled Albus Dumbledore Remembered, a glowing obituary published shortly after Dumbledore's death. The article praises Dumbledore as a great wizard, a champion of Muggle rights, and a powerful opponent of Voldemort during the First Wizarding War. It recounts his early years, his position as Transfiguration Professor, and his legendary role as Hogwarts headmaster. For a moment, Harry feels comforted, reminded of the wise and powerful figure he admired. However, this feeling soon turns uneasy. Harry moves on to an article by Rita Skeeter, the infamous journalist, promoting her new biography The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore. Rita hints at shocking revelations about Dumbledore's past, claiming she interviewed Bathilda Bagshot, the celebrated magical historian and Dumbledore family neighbor. According to Rita, Dumbledore's youth was not as spotless as many believed, and her book supposedly exposes hidden family secrets and youthful indiscretions. Harry is disgusted by Rita's opportunism but can't help feeling disturbed. He realizes how little he actually knows about Dumbledore's personal life. Harry's thoughts drift to the last conversation he had with Dumbledore, their adventures searching for Horcruxes, and the night of his death atop the astronomy tower. The doubts planted by Rita's article begin to grow. Could there be truths behind the gossip? Why didn't Dumbledore ever talk to him about his past? These questions linger heavily in Harry's mind. He then turns his attention to the photograph of the original Order of the Phoenix, kept folded in the pages of an old article. As he studies the faces, many of them now dead, he's reminded of the stakes of the coming conflict. Harry understands that his path forward is dangerous and that Dumbledore's guidance, once his anchor, is now gone. The chapter ends with Harry sitting quietly, lost in thought, as dawn begins to approach. He knows this will be his last night at Privet Drive. In the morning, the Order will arrive to escort him away. For the first time, Harry feels the full weight of what lies ahead, not just the hunt for Horcruxes, but also the uncertainty surrounding Dumbledore's legacy. His hero has become, in some ways, a mystery. Key moments in the chapter include Harry packing his things at Privet Drive, preparing to leave for the final time, reading Dumbledore's obituary and reflecting on his achievements, encountering Rita Skeeter's article about her scandalous biography, Harry's growing doubts about how well he truly knew Dumbledore, the emotional weight of studying the old Order of the Phoenix photograph. Differences between the book and the movie. This entire reflective chapter is omitted in the movie. In the film, Harry's emotional preparation and Dumbledore reflections are condensed and shown through quick visual sequences rather than in-depth internal monologue. Rita Skeeter's book is briefly referenced later, but the rich detail of Harry's doubts and memories is missing. Chapter 2, In Memoriam, is a powerful, introspective moment before the action begins. It reminds us of Dumbledore's complex legacy and sets the emotional tone for Harry's journey ahead. What do you think about Rita Skeeter's revelations? Do you believe any of it, or is it pure gossip? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for Chapter 3. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 3 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Dursleys Departing. This chapter marks a turning point as Harry's years at number 4, Privet Drive, finally draw to a close. The Dursleys, Vernon, Petunia, and Dudley, prepare to leave their home under the protection of the Order of the Phoenix. As the safety surrounding Harry collapses with his upcoming 17th birthday, the chapter begins with the Order's plan to remove the Dursleys from Privet Drive. Harry tries to explain to his uncle that, once he turns 17, the magical protection placed on their home will end. Death Eaters are likely to target Privet Drive to get to him. So the Dursleys must go into hiding. Vernon, as usual, reacts with deep suspicion. He worries that the Order might intend to harm him or take over his house. Harry patiently explains that the Order is only trying to keep them safe. The situation becomes almost comedic when Vernon considers alternative hiding options, like going with Daedalus Diggle and Hestia Jones, 2 Order members, but keeps suspecting they might have ulterior motives. He even briefly considers staying behind to face Voldemort himself, imagining that he could reason with him. Harry quickly dismisses this absurd idea. Petunia is mostly silent during this exchange. She doesn't protest about leaving but seems conflicted. This house has been her life. Yet she knows the danger is real. When Hestia and Daedalus arrive, they calmly explain the seriousness of the situation. The protection is tied to Harry, and once he leaves, it will vanish. The Dursleys finally accept the plan to go into hiding. The most unexpected and touching moment comes from Dudley. He surprises everyone, including Harry, by showing genuine concern. Dudley awkwardly tells Harry that he doesn't think Harry is a waste of space. This is a shocking contrast to his lifetime of bullying and indifference. Dudley even shakes Harry's hand, a simple but powerful gesture. Petunia looks like she might say something meaningful too, but ultimately remains silent, walking out with her family. As the car pulls away, Harry watches the Dursleys leave Privet Drive for the last time. The moment is bittersweet. Despite everything, they are his last link to the Muggle world and his childhood. Their departure symbolizes the closing of one chapter and the beginning of a dangerous, uncertain future. Key moments in the chapter include: the Order of the Phoenix arrives with plans to protect the Dursleys, Vernon's suspicious and paranoid reaction to the protection offer, Daedalus Diggle and Hestia Jones calmly explaining the situation, Dudley's surprising display of affection and gratitude toward Harry, the Dursleys leaving Privet Drive forever, marking a symbolic end to Harry's life there. Differences between the book and the movie: this entire chapter is omitted in the film. The movie briefly shows the Dursleys packing up and leaving, but Dudley's touching moment with Harry is removed, a loss many fans lamented. In the book, the conversation with Daedalus and Hestia gives depth to the Dursleys' fear and reluctance, which the film skips entirely. The emotional undertone of Dudley's goodbye is far stronger in the book than in the film's brief montage. Chapter 3 is a quiet but emotionally resonant farewell to the Dursleys. It closes a long and often strained relationship between Harry and his only living relatives. Dudley's unexpected kindness offers a small but meaningful redemption for the Dursleys, while Harry's calm acceptance shows how far he's matured. From this point on, there's no turning back. Harry's journey into danger truly begins. So, what did you think of Dudley's surprising gesture? Did it change your view of him? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 4, The Seven Potters. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 4 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Seven Potters. This is the chapter where everything changes. Harry leaves Privet Drive for the final time, and the wizarding world plunges into action. The chapter begins at Privet Drive after the Dursleys have departed under protective arrangements. Harry takes a moment to reflect on the empty house where he grew up, feeling a mix of nostalgia and relief. Suddenly, the sound of many people arriving breaks the silence. Members of the Order of the Phoenix have arrived to escort Harry to safety. Among the group are familiar faces: Mad-Eye Moody, Lupin, Tonks, Kingsley, Arthur Weasley, Hagrid, and the Weasley twins. Also joining are Ron, Hermione, Fleur, and Mundungus Fletcher. Moody explains the dangerous plan to get Harry out of Privet Drive without the Death Eaters tracking him. Apparition or portkeys can be traced, so the group must fly, but to fool Voldemort's followers, 6 volunteers will take Polyjuice Potion to transform into Harry. Hermione, Ron, Fred, George, Fleur, and Mundungus bravely agree to become decoys. The potion is distributed, and in a tense moment, they all drink it simultaneously. Their features twist and shift until 6 identical Harry Potters stand in the room, each wearing his glasses and clothes. The Real Harry feels uneasy seeing so many copies of himself. But the group lightens the mood with some jokes. The plan pairs each Harry with an escort: Ron with Tonks, Hermione with Kingsley, Fred with Arthur, George with Lupin, Fleur with Bill, Mundungus with Mad-Eye, the real Harry with Hagrid on Sirius's enchanted motorbike. As night falls, they take off into the stormy sky. But almost immediately, Death Eaters ambush them. Spells light up the night like fireworks as a chaotic aerial battle unfolds. Harry and Hagrid are pursued fiercely. Hedwig bravely tries to defend Harry but is struck by a killing curse, dying instantly. A tragic and shocking moment. Harry is heartbroken but has no time to grieve. Death Eaters close in, firing curses relentlessly. Hagrid performs daring maneuvers while Harry casts defensive spells. Suddenly, Voldemort himself appears, flying through the air without a broom. He targets Harry with lethal precision, But something extraordinary happens. Harry's wand acts on its own, sending a powerful golden burst that shatters Voldemort's attack and surprises everyone, including the Dark Lord. This unexpected magic gives them just enough time to escape. The motorbike crashes near Tonks's parents' house, but they survive thanks to Hagrid's quick actions. Harry is shaken, mourning Hedwig and processing the terrifying fact that Voldemort almost caught him. The chapter ends with the realization that this war is truly underway. There's no going back now. Key moments in the chapter include the Polyjuice transformation of 6 friends into Harry, the daring takeoff into the night, the tragic death of Hedwig, the breathtaking aerial battle with Death Eaters, Voldemort's arrival and Harry's wand's mysterious self-defense, differences between the book and the movie. The book provides far more detailed transformations and humorous interactions between the 7 Harrys. The chase scene in the book involves more strategic battle maneuvers and different pairings than in the movie. Voldemort's Madare confrontation and Harry's wand acting independently are more thoroughly explained in the book. In conclusion, The Seven Potters is a heart-pounding chapter that sets the tone for the rest of the book. It mixes humor, tragedy, and intense action, signaling that Harry's journey has entered its most dangerous stage. What was your favorite part, the transformation, the chase, or Voldemort's shock? Tell us below. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're exploring Chapter 5 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Fallen Warrior. This chapter opens in the chaotic aftermath of the escape plan. Harry and Hagrid, riding Sirius's enchanted motorbike, are soaring through the night sky. Below them, the countryside is dark and silent, but above, the air is thick with danger. Suddenly, they are ambushed. Death Eaters swoop in from all directions, wands blazing with curses. Hagrid accelerates the motorbike, performing daring maneuvers to evade spells. Harry, sitting in the sidecar, frantically fires stunning spells while trying to stay upright. The protective spells around them strain under the onslaught. Sparks fly from the engine as the bike bucks and swerves violently. The situation worsens as Harry's wand acts of its own accord when Voldemort appears. The Dark Lord is flying without a broom, a spectral figure slicing through the air. He raises his wand, ready to end Harry's life. But as he casts the killing curse, Harry's wand releases a surge of golden flames, breaking Voldemort's wand and forcing him back. Harry is stunned by the sudden magic. He didn't consciously cast the spell. Meanwhile, the motorbike's sidecar detaches. Harry plummets through the air before activating his broom to slow the fall. Hagrid regains control and manages a wild descent. They crash land near the burrow in a shower of sparks and smoke. Hagrid is knocked unconscious but alive. Harry stumbles from the wreckage, battered but breathing. At the burrow, members of the Order are anxiously waiting. Lupin arrives soon after and immediately checks to confirm Harry's identity, fearing Polyjuice imposters. Slowly, more members return, each telling grim stories of their flight. George Weasley has been horribly injured. Snape's Sectum Sempra curse severed his ear during the battle. The mood is somber, the reality of war setting in. The worst news comes when they learn that Mad-Eye Moody has been killed. His body hasn't been recovered. The loss sends a heavy silence through the group. Moody had been a constant figure of vigilance and strength. His death is a grim reminder of the stakes ahead. Harry is overwhelmed by guilt and grief. People have risked and lost their lives to protect him, and the war is clearly escalating. He reflects on Voldemort's near capture and the strange, autonomous magic from his wand. This unexpected power both unsettles and intrigues him. The chapter ends with the group gathered in subdued silence at the burrow. They have survived, but at a cost. The escape was only the beginning of Voldemort's relentless pursuit. Key moments in the chapter include the sky ambush. The sudden attack on the Order during their flight sets the tone for the chapter's intensity. Voldemort's arrival, his terrifying, broomless flight heightens the danger dramatically. The mysterious wand reaction, Harry's wand acts on its own, breaking Voldemort's borrowed wand. The burrow crash landing, a chaotic but critical moment of survival. The death of Mad-Eye Moody, the chapter's emotional blow, symbolizing real wartime loss. Differences between the book and the movie. The book goes into far more detail about the aerial battle, including Harry's wand's mysterious reaction and the chaotic fight in the sky. The movie condenses the scene. omitting much of the Order's individual fights and the aftermath's quiet sorrow. Moody's death and George's injury are treated with more gravity and reflection in the book. Chapter 5, Fallen Warrior, is where the full danger of Voldemort's rise becomes unmistakable. The ambush, Voldemort's direct attack, and the devastating loss of Moody bring the stakes to their highest yet. Which moment in this chapter struck you the most, the sky battle, Voldemort's sudden appearance, or Moody's death? Tell us in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 6. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 6 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Ghoul in Pajamas. This chapter offers a rare moment of stillness before the storm, a touching, clever, and emotional interlude that shows the trio's meticulous planning and the immense sacrifices they make to embark on their dangerous quest. The calm before the journey, the chapter opens with Ron describing the ingenious plan the Weasleys have devised to cover his disappearance once he leaves with Harry and Hermione. In the attic of the burrow, a ghoul, the family's longtime, smelly houseguest, is now dressed in Ron's old pajamas and has been magically altered to resemble a red-headed boy suffering from a contagious illness called spattergroit. The plan is simple yet brilliant. When Ron vanishes, everyone will assume he's bedridden at home, avoiding suspicion from the Ministry or Death Eaters. Ron finds the whole situation hilarious, while Hermione can hardly believe the absurdity of it. This clever disguise demonstrates both the Weasleys' loyalty and the extent to which they'll go to protect their son's friends. Hermione's heartbreaking sacrifice. Hermione reveals the lengths she has gone to protect her parents. She has not only packed supplies and prepared protective spells but also altered their memories, making them believe they are different people, a couple named Wendell and Monica Wilkins, and sending them to Australia. It's a hauntingly selfless act. By doing this, Hermione ensures that Voldemort's followers cannot use her parents against her, but it also means she has effectively erased herself from their lives. Harry and Ron are deeply moved, realizing the true weight of her decision. Hermione's quiet courage shines through. It's one of the most poignant moments in the entire series. Harry's reflections and farewell. As they continue preparing, Harry reflects on what lies ahead. The burrow, though warm and chaotic, feels like a fragile haven, a place about to be shattered by the coming storm. Harry is both grateful and restless. He knows that the Order will soon move him from Privet Drive to safety, but that journey will mark the real beginning of their perilous mission. The chapter gives us a glimpse into Harry's mindset, torn between hope and dread. He realizes that the comfort of the burrow and the love of the Weasleys are things he might never experience again. This undercurrent of finality runs through every small moment, the laughter, the teasing, even the quiet pauses, making the reader feel the gravity of what's coming. Ron's readiness and the trio's unity. Ron, often underestimated, shines in this chapter. His family's plan and his steady resolve reveal how much he's matured. No longer the unsure boy following Harry's lead, Ron now stands as an equal partner. His humor masks genuine fear, but he's committed to the mission without hesitation. Together, the trio methodically prepare, packing food, clothing, and magical tools. Hermione organizes supplies with her characteristic precision, while Ron cracks jokes to lighten the mood. Harry quietly observes, recognizing the love and loyalty that bind them. This sense of unity and friendship gives strength to their otherwise grim task. The ghoul in pajamas, symbolism and humor. The ghoul itself serves as comic relief amid the tension. Dressed absurdly in Ron's striped pajamas and sporting a mop of fake red hair, it grunts and moans in the attic, occasionally hitting pipes for attention. The humor contrasts sharply with the seriousness of Hermione's farewell, illustrating how even in dark times, the Weasleys maintain warmth and wit. It's J.K. Rowling's way of balancing fear with laughter, a reminder that hope and humor often coexist in the wizarding world. A quiet night before chaos. As the evening draws in, the three sit together in the burrow's glowing attic. There's a stillness, a sense that everything is about to change. Outside, the countryside lies peaceful under the setting sun. Inside, their hearts are heavy but resolute. Tomorrow, they will face danger, betrayal, and the unknown. This chapter closes not with action, but with intention. It's the breath before the plunge, the last touch of normalcy before the adventure truly begins. Key moments in the chapter include the Weasleys' ingenious plan to disguise the ghoul as Ron, Hermione's heartbreaking memory charm on her parents, Harry's reflections on friendship, family, and the coming storm, the trio's final preparations before leaving for their mission. The sense of quiet unity and courage that binds them, differences between the book and the movie. The movie completely omits the ghoul subplot, missing the Weasleys' clever and humorous plan. Hermione's memory charm scene is shown in the film's opening but without the full explanation of her parents' new identities. The book spends more time showing the trio's meticulous planning and emotional goodbyes, building the tension before the action begins. The warmth and humor of the burrow scenes are largely compressed in the movie. That wraps up Chapter 6, The Ghoul in Pajamas. This chapter blends humor, heartbreak, and heroism, a rare, quiet moment that reveals just how much Harry, Ron, and Hermione have grown. From Hermione's tearful sacrifice to Ron's ingenious disguise plan, every detail underscores the courage it takes to walk away from safety for the greater good. Which farewell moment struck you the most, Hermione's memory spell or Ron's ridiculous ghoul disguise? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 7, The Will of Albus Dumbledore. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 7 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Will of Albus Dumbledore. This chapter pulls us into a tense and revealing moment where the trio learns what Dumbledore left them and begins to realize how much he still guides them from beyond the grave. The chapter opens at the Burrow, where the excitement of Bill and Fleur's wedding is still in the air, but a quiet tension lingers among Harry, Ron, and Hermione. They know their mission is about to begin, yet they're still unsure how to start. The mood is uneasy, a mix of anticipation and fear for what lies ahead. That morning, a surprise visitor arrives, Rufus Scrimgeour, the Minister for Magic. His sudden appearance at the Burrow immediately puts everyone on edge. Mrs. Weasley is suspicious but allows him to speak privately with Harry, Ron, and Hermione. The atmosphere turns formal and uncomfortable as Scrimgeour, looking haggard and stern, announces he's there to fulfill the last will and testament of Albus Dumbledore. The trio is taken aback. Hearing Dumbledore's name brings back fresh waves of grief and curiosity. What could he have left for them, and why? Scrimgeour begins reading from the will, explaining that Dumbledore left each of them something personal and, perhaps, deeply meaningful. First, to Ron, Dumbledore bequeaths his Deluminator, the small silver device that can capture and release light. The inscription reads, "In the hope that he will remember me when he uses it." Ron is puzzled and touched, not realizing yet that the Deluminator will play a crucial role in his journey later. Next, to Hermione, Dumbledore leaves a beautifully illustrated copy of the Tales of Beedle the Bard. It's a children's book filled with wizarding fairy tales, but Dumbledore's note says he left it in the hope that she will find it entertaining and instructive. Hermione is sure there's more to it, perhaps hidden meanings or runes that will become important. Finally, Scrimgeour presents Harry with something small and golden, the golden snitch from his first Quidditch match at Hogwarts, the one he famously caught in his mouth. The note from Dumbledore says, "I open at the close." The cryptic message leaves Harry confused but intrigued. Then, Scrimgeour adds that Dumbledore also left Harry the sword of Godric Gryffindor. However, the Ministry refuses to hand it over, claiming it's a historical artifact that doesn't belong to Dumbledore. Harry argues that the sword appeared to him in the Chamber of Secrets because he was a true Gryffindor. But Scrimgeour refuses to budge. The Minister's tone shifts, he begins to interrogate them, probing for information about Dumbledore's secrets. He hints that the trio might be on a mission Dumbledore never revealed to the Ministry. Harry stands his ground, reminding Scrimgeour that Dumbledore trusted him, not the Ministry, and refusing to share anything. The confrontation grows tense. Scrimgeour accuses Harry of being Dumbledore's man through and through, to which Harry proudly replies, "Yeah, I am." With that, the Minister storms out, frustrated and defeated. After he leaves, the trio examines their gifts again. The mood turns contemplative. What did Dumbledore mean by these objects? What's hidden inside the snitch? What's special about Hermione's book? Could these items be clues to the mission Dumbledore set for them, the quest to destroy Voldemort's Horcruxes? As they discuss these questions, they realize how mysterious and wise Dumbledore truly was. Even in death, he's guiding them, but in riddles they'll have to solve on their own. The moment marks the quiet beginning of their journey into danger, trust, and discovery. Key moments in the chapter include Rufus Scrimgeour's surprise arrival at the Burrow, the reading of Dumbledore's will, Ron receiving the Deluminator, Hermione receiving the Tales of Beedle the Bard, Harry receiving the golden snitch with the inscription "I open at the close." The Ministry refusing to give Harry the sword of Gryffindor, Scrimgeour's confrontation and Harry's defiance, Differences between the book and the movie. The entire well-reading scene with Scrimgeour is omitted in the movie. Harry, Ron, and Hermione simply receive their items without any ministry confrontation. The tension between Harry and the minister, highlighting Harry's loyalty to Dumbledore, is much stronger in the book. Dumbledore's gifts are explained with more mystery and significance in the novel, emphasizing their symbolic meaning and foreshadowing future events. That wraps up Chapter 7, a chapter that changes the mood from morning to mission, from questions to the first mysterious answers. Let us know your favorite line or moment from this chapter in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please like, subscribe, and share to help Boundless Books grow, and don't forget to comment your thoughts on Dumbledore's phrase, "I open at the close." Join us next time for Chapter 8, The Wedding. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're stepping into Chapter 8 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Wedding. This chapter marks a rare and fleeting moment of joy in an otherwise dark and dangerous time, the marriage of Bill Weasley and Fleur Delacour. Amid the laughter, dancing, and golden tents, there's an undercurrent of fear, as the wizarding world teeters on the edge of Voldemort's rule. The chapter opens at the Burrow, where last-minute preparations for the wedding are in full swing. The garden has been transformed with golden silk tents, fluttering flowers, and floating candles. Fleur looks radiant in her silver-white gown, and even Aunt Muriel has arrived, bringing her usual sharp tongue. Though the day feels bright, Harry's heart remains heavy. Mad-Eye Moody is gone, and the danger of being discovered hangs over everyone. Harry is disguised as cousin Barney Weasley, using Polyjuice Potion to conceal his true identity. It's a safety measure, as Death Eaters could strike at any moment, and Harry's presence would draw them like flies. Hermione and Ron stick close to him, blending into the joyful chaos of guests arriving. Among the guests are several familiar faces: Luna Lovegood and her eccentric father Xenophilius, Kingsley Shacklebolt, and even Victor Crumb, the Bulgarian Quidditch star. The magical decorations shimmer, and the air buzzes with laughter and music, a rare bit of peace before the storm. The wedding ceremony itself is described beautifully. Fleur glides down the aisle, shimmering like a moonbeam, while Bill looks more handsome than ever. The Delacours and Weasleys, though very different, come together in a moment of unity and celebration. The officiating wizard, wearing peacock blue robes, declares them husband and wife as golden stars shower down upon the guests. After the ceremony, the party begins in full swing. Tables groan under heaps of magical food, and the band strikes up a lively tune. Even the normally strict Mrs. Weasley allows herself to dance. The newlyweds look blissful as they spin under the enchanted lights. For a while, everyone forgets the darkness waiting outside the garden walls. Harry, Ron, and Hermione mingle among the guests, overhearing snippets of conversation that reveal the growing unease in the wizarding world. Xenophilius Lovegood wears a strange symbol on his chest, a triangle with a circle and a line inside, which catches Harry's eye. Victor Crumb, however, reacts angrily to it, saying it's the symbol of Grindelwald, a dark wizard defeated by Dumbledore decades ago. The discussion hints that Dumbledore's past might be far more complicated than Harry ever imagined. Then, Elphias Doge, one of Dumbledore's oldest friends, appears. He wrote a moving obituary for Dumbledore in the Daily Prophet. Harry joins him, hoping to learn more about his late headmaster. But before their conversation can go deep, Aunt Muriel barges in, and she's full of gossip. She insists that Dumbledore's family was shrouded in scandal, that his sister, Ariana, was a squib or possibly insane, that his brother Aberforth got into trouble for attacking students, and that the Dumbledores once lived in Godric's Hollow. Harry is stunned. Dumbledore had never mentioned any of this to him, not even when entrusting him with the mission to destroy Voldemort's Horcruxes. The revelations shake Harry's trust. Was Dumbledore hiding something? Why hadn't he shared the truth? Hermione tries to reassure him, but the doubt lingers in Harry's mind like a shadow. As the night wears on, the joyous music continues, but a sudden chill ripples through the crowd. Out of nowhere, a silver lynx Patronus bursts into the tent, it's Kingsley Shacklebolt's voice, calm but urgent. The ministry has fallen. Scrimgeour is dead. They are coming. In an instant, the laughter dies. The guests freeze in horror as reality crashes back. The protective enchantments around the burrow begin to fail, and chaos erupts. Harry, Ron, and Hermione lock eyes. Their time at the burrow is over. Voldemort's power has fully taken hold. The chapter ends on a heart-pounding note, the trio preparing to flee into an uncertain world. The golden tent that had once symbolized joy now feels like a trap, a fragile bubble about to burst under the weight of darkness. Key moments in the chapter include Bill and Fleur's wedding, a moment of beauty and hope amid despair, symbolizing love's endurance even in dark times. Harry as cousin Barney, a clever use of polyjuice potion showing constant vigilance against danger. Dumbledore's past revealed, Muriel's gossip and Doge's words create new mysteries around Dumbledore's family. The symbol of Grindelwald, the strange mark on Xenophilius's chest foreshadows the Deathly Hallows. The Ministry falls, Kingsley's Patronus shatters the peace, signaling Voldemort's complete control. Differences between the book and the movie: the wedding scene is skipped entirely in the film. The trio's escape happens before any wedding events. In the movie, we never see Elphia's Doge, Aunt Muriel, or Victor Crumb, and the Grindelwald symbol is introduced later. The collapse of the Ministry is shown in parallel scenes in the film, not announced during the wedding. The emotional depth of Dumbledore's family revelations is largely absent from the movie version. The wedding offers a bittersweet blend of celebration and sorrow, the calm before the storm. In this chapter, Rowling reminds us that even in times of darkness, love and unity still shine brightly. Yet, the sudden fall of the Ministry and the cracks in Dumbledore's legacy signal that Harry's real journey is only beginning. So tell me, what shocked you more, the fall of the Ministry or the secrets about Dumbledore's past? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more magical chapter explorations from Boundless Books. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 9 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled A Place to Hide. This chapter thrusts Harry, Ron, and Hermione into the immediate aftermath of the chaos at Bill and Fleur's wedding, forcing them to act quickly, think fast, and find refuge in an increasingly hostile world where Voldemort's followers are tightening their grip on everything. The chapter begins with the trio operating in panic right after the Death Eaters attack the burrow during the wedding celebration. Hermione, ever the planner, takes charge. She had anticipated the possibility of an ambush and packed a small beaded bag filled with everything they might need: clothes, food, books, and even their invisibility cloak. They land in the bustling heart of Tottenham Court Road, a muggle area in London, disoriented but relieved to have escaped immediate danger. The trio ducks into a small all-night cafe to catch their breath and decide their next move. The conversation turns grim as they discuss what's happening back at the wedding. Hermione suspects that the Ministry has already fallen under Voldemort's control since the attack on the wedding coincided with Scrimgeour's disappearance. They realize that nowhere is safe anymore, not even among friends or family. Harry feels a growing sense of guilt for the danger his presence brings to everyone he cares about. As they try to regroup, Harry notices his reflection in the cafe window and is struck by how much he's changed. He's no longer the boy who first stepped into Hogwarts. He's now hunted, hardened, and burdened by the immense task Dumbledore left him. The trio orders coffee and begins to discuss where they could possibly hide. Hermione suggests going to Grimmauld Place, Sirius Black's old house, which had served as the headquarters for the Order of the Phoenix. Despite their doubts about whether it's still safe, they agree it's their best option for now. Just as they start to relax, danger finds them again. Two rough-looking men enter the cafe, and almost immediately, Harry senses something wrong. The men's behavior, the way they look at him, it's clear they are Death Eaters. Hermione's suspicion is confirmed when one of them calls Harry by name. Before they can react, the attackers strike. A fierce duel erupts in the middle of the cafe, spells shattering tables and scorching walls. Harry and Hermione react instinctively, their training and experience kicking in. With Ron's help, they manage to stun both attackers. Breathing heavily, the trio realizes how vulnerable they are. Voldemort's followers can track them, and even random muggles are at risk simply by being near them. Hermione quickly wipes the Death Eaters' memories with a charm, ensuring they won't remember the encounter or their whereabouts. This act underscores Hermione's growing confidence and ruthlessness in the face of war. She's no longer the hesitant student but a capable fighter. They clean up the mess as best they can and rush out of the cafe before anyone else arrives. The near miss shakes them deeply. For the first time, they realize just how alone they are. There's no Dumbledore to guide them, no order to protect them. They're fugitives now, three teenagers carrying the fate of the wizarding world on their shoulders. Finally, they apparate to 12, Grimmauld Place, the old Black family home. The street is eerily quiet when they arrive, and their nerves are on edge. As soon as they step inside, the old protective spells of the Order seem to react to their presence. A dark, ghostly figure of Albus Dumbledore bursts from the shadows, causing all three of them to scream in fear. But the figure quickly fades. It's just a charm set up to scare away intruders. Once they're sure the house hasn't been compromised, they cautiously explore it. The rooms are dusty but familiar, and for the first time since the wedding, they feel a fleeting sense of safety. The mention of Dumbledore's name, however, reignites Harry's inner conflict. He's still wrestling with doubts about how much the late headmaster truly told him. Despite his admiration for Dumbledore, Harry can't help but feel frustrated that so many things remain unclear, especially about the Horcruxes and their next step. As the trio settles in for the night, Ron attempts to lighten the mood by joking about the cafe battle, but the tension lingers. They know this is just the beginning of a long, uncertain journey. Harry stares into the flickering light of the old house, knowing that their real quest, finding and destroying Voldemort's Horcruxes, has only just begun. Key moments in the chapter include the trio apparates from the wedding to Tottenham Court Road, escaping the Death Eater attack, Hermione's quick thinking and her magical beaded bag prove invaluable. The trio discusses the fall of the Ministry and realizes the wizarding world is now under Voldemort's control. A tense duel occurs in the Muggle Cafe when Death Eaters track them down. Hermione wipes the Death Eaters' memories to protect their location. The trio escapes to 12, Grimmauld Place, using it as a temporary hideout. The eerie charm of Dumbledore's apparition scares them but confirms the house's protective spells are still active. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, the attack on the cafe and the Death Eaters duel are intense and detailed, showcasing the trio's resourcefulness. In the movie, this scene is shorter and more stylized, focusing on visuals rather than dialogue. The book includes more emotional reflection, particularly Harry's thoughts about the Ministry's fall and his doubts about Dumbledore's guidance. The film skips much of this introspection. Hermione's beaded bag and her preparedness are given more attention in the book, emphasizing her foresight and growth as a leader. That wraps up Chapter 9, A Place to Hide. This chapter marks the trio's first real test of survival outside Hogwarts, showing how they must rely on each other, their instincts, and their courage. The safety of childhood is gone, only grit and loyalty remain. So tell me, what did you think of their first real brush with dangerous fugitives? Could you have stayed as calm as Hermione in that cafe duel? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 10, Creature's Tale. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 10 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled Creature's Tale. This chapter peels back the curtain on the mysterious and tragic past of the Black family's house elf, Kreacher, revealing secrets that connect directly to Voldemort's Horcruxes and the betrayal of Regulus Black. The chapter begins with Harry, Ron, and Hermione arriving at 12, Grimmauld Place, still shaken from their narrow escape from the Ministry. They are hiding in the ancestral home of Sirius Black, which now serves as their refuge from Death Eaters and the Ministry alike. Despite its eerie silence, the house remains protected by Dumbledore's enchantments and the loyalty of Kreacher, the house elf who once despised Harry. As the trio tries to gather their thoughts, Harry discovers a connection between the fake locket they found in the cave with Dumbledore and the locket once kept at Grimmauld Place, the same one they couldn't open during their cleaning in Order of the Phoenix. Realizing this could be one of Voldemort's Horcruxes, they summon Kreacher to question him about it. Initially resistant and bitter, Kreacher's hostility melts into despair when ordered to explain. His trembling voice recounts the sorrowful story of Regulus Black, Sirius's younger brother, who once joined Voldemort's Death Eaters. Over time, Regulus realized the evil of Voldemort's plans, especially after learning about the Horcruxes. He discovered that Voldemort had used Kreacher to test the deadly protections around the locket Horcrux in the cave, forcing the elf to drink the torturous potion and leaving him to die. But Kreacher survived. Obeying his master's order to return home, heartbroken and horrified, Regulus commanded Kreacher to take him back to the cave. In an act of defiance and redemption, Regulus made Kreacher switch the real locket with a fake one, inscribed with the initials RAB. And then drank the potion himself, perishing in the cave. Kreacher tried desperately to save him but was forced to obey Regulus's final command, to return home and destroy the locket. Tragically, he could never destroy it. This revelation transforms the trio's perception of Kreacher. No longer just a bitter servant, he becomes a tragic figure, loyal and loving to his master until the end. Harry, deeply moved, offers Kreacher the fake locket as a sign of respect and gratitude. This simple gesture of kindness stirs something profound within the old elf. For the first time, he treats them with genuine loyalty and warmth. Kreacher eagerly reveals that the locket was stolen by Mundungus Fletcher, who looted the house after Dumbledore's death. Furious but determined, Harry orders Kreacher to find Mundungus and bring him back for questioning. To everyone's surprise, the old elf bows low and disappears with a loud crack, eager to fulfill his master's wish. The chapter closes on a hopeful yet haunting note. The trio finally have a lead on one of Voldemort's Horcruxes, and a new, unexpected ally in Kreacher. Key moments in the chapter include, the trio hides at 12, Grimmauld Place, reuniting with Kreacher. Harry realizes the Horcrux locket once belonged to the Black family. Kreacher recounts Regulus Black's brave sacrifice and the truth behind RAB. Harry gives Kreacher the fake locket, earning his loyalty and trust. Kreacher vows to find Mundungus Fletcher, who stole the real locket. Differences between the book and the movie. The movie only briefly references Kreacher's change in attitude and omits most of Regulus Black's story, which is told in full detail here. In the book, Harry's compassion toward Kreacher plays a crucial role in gaining his loyalty. This emotional development is missing from the film. The entire Kreacher's tale section is heavily abbreviated in the movie, reducing its emotional depth and the importance of Regulus's sacrifice. That wraps up Chapter 10, Kreacher's Tale. This chapter beautifully blends sorrow and redemption, turning Kreacher from a symbol of resentment into one of loyalty and honor. It also sheds light on Regulus Black's courage, proving that even those who falter can find a path to redemption. Which part of Kreacher's story moved you the most, his devotion to Regulus, or Harry's act of kindness? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time as we uncover Chapter 11, The Bribe. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 11 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Bribe. This chapter unfolds a quieter but deeply revealing moment as Harry, Ron, and Hermione hide in the countryside, grappling with their next steps and the emotional strain that comes with isolation. It's a chapter about loyalty, doubt, and the difficult decisions that come with standing up against darkness. The chapter opens with the trio camping in the wild after fleeing from the wedding and escaping the Ministry's new regime. They rely on Hermione's well-prepared beaded bag, which contains everything they need to survive, from a tent to food supplies. However, the uncertainty of where to go next begins to weigh heavily on them. Their only concrete lead is the locket Horcrux, which they retrieved from Umbridge. But they have no idea how to destroy it. While they take turns wearing the Horcrux to prevent anyone from being corrupted by it for too long, its dark magic begins to affect their moods. Paranoia, irritability, and doubt start seeping in. Harry struggles with guilt. He feels he's led them into danger without a plan. Ron, increasingly frustrated, feels the absence of his family and worries about their safety. Hermione tries to stay strong, but even she can't stop the tension from growing. Their discussions revolve around Dumbledore's mysterious hints. Harry recalls the story of the Sword of Gryffindor, which Dumbledore used to destroy the ring Horcrux. Hermione realizes that the sword must be imbued with basilisk venom, the same substance that destroyed Tom Riddle's diary in Chamber of Secrets. However, the sword they saw in Dumbledore's office was a fake. The real sword must be hidden somewhere. The mood shifts when they hear a knock outside the tent one night. It's Remus Lupin, who has tracked them down. His sudden appearance brings relief and confusion in equal measure. Lupin explains that he left Tonks behind because she is pregnant and he feels ashamed, believing his condition as a werewolf will make the child's life miserable. He offers to join Harry, Ron, and Hermione on their mission, saying his experience could be valuable. Harry, however, reacts with unexpected anger. He accuses Lupin of abandoning Tonks and their unborn child. Their argument becomes heated. Harry says that Lupin is being cowardly, just as his own father, James Potter, would never have run away from his responsibilities. Lupin's face hardens, and in fury, he leaves the tent, furious and humiliated. After Lupin's departure, the atmosphere grows heavy. Ron and Hermione are both shaken by Harry's outburst. Ron thinks Harry went too far, while Hermione quietly agrees that Harry was right, though she's saddened by how harsh the confrontation was. Harry himself feels guilty afterward but stands by his words, believing Lupin needed to hear them. The trio continues their uncertain journey, moving from place to place to avoid capture by the Ministry and Death Eaters. The chapter closes on a note of quiet tension. The three friends remain united but visibly fraying under the weight of fear, isolation, and moral burden. They are growing more aware that this mission will test not just their courage, but their loyalty to one another. Key moments in the chapter include the trio's growing frustration and emotional strain while camping and hiding, the discovery that the sword of Gryffindor is fake, and realization that the real sword can destroy Horcruxes, the surprise visit from Remus Lupin and his emotional turmoil about fatherhood. Harry's fierce confrontation with Lupin, calling out his attempt to run away from Tonks and their unborn child. The trio's deepening isolation, signaling how difficult their journey will become. Differences between the book and the movie. This chapter is entirely omitted from the film adaptation. The emotional conflict between Harry and Lupin, which adds depth to both characters, never appears on screen. The book's portrayal of Harry's moral growth, showing his ability to challenge even those he respects, is lost in the movie. Similarly, the tension of life on the run, with the Horcruxes' influence and the growing despair, is only lightly touched upon in the film version, that wraps up Chapter 11, The Bribe. This chapter gives us a more intimate look at the trio's emotional struggle and Harry's growth as a leader who isn't afraid to speak the truth even when it's painful. What do you think about Harry's confrontation with Lupin? Was he right to call him out? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 12, Magic is Might. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're delving into Chapter 12 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled Magic is Might. This intense and suspenseful chapter marks the trio's daring infiltration of the Ministry of Magic, now corrupted and ruled by fear under Voldemort's control. The chapter begins with Harry, Ron, and Hermione preparing for their dangerous mission. They've brewed Polyjuice Potion to disguise themselves as Ministry employees. Hermione takes on the form of Mafalda Hopkirk, Ron becomes Reg Cattermole, and Harry transforms into the imposing Albert Runcorn. After ensuring they have their wands and the invisibility cloak ready, the trio disapparate directly into a public bathroom at the Ministry, their secret entry point. Inside the Ministry, things are drastically different from how Harry remembers them. The atrium, once filled with golden statues celebrating unity, now bears a chilling new centerpiece, a towering black statue of robed wizards and witches sitting high upon a base of carved muggles, crushed beneath their feet. The inscription reads, "Magic is Might." It's a horrifying reflection of Voldemort's regime and the new ideology of pureblood dominance. The Ministry itself feels cold and hostile. Security wizards check identification, and pamphlets everywhere spread propaganda against Muggleborns. Hermione, disguised as Mafalda, nervously keeps up her role, while Ron struggles to act natural under his new appearance. The tension is thick as they make their way deeper into the building. Their first major challenge comes when Ron is assigned to fix a magical leak, forcing him to split off from the group. Harry and Hermione press on, taking the elevator up to Dolores Umbridge's office, where they believe the Horcrux locket, once belonging to Salazar Slytherin and now worn by Umbridge, is hidden. As they enter Umbridge's office, the pink, overly decorated room feels nauseatingly familiar. The walls are lined with kitten plates, lace doilies, and smiling portraits, a grotesque contrast to the darkness ruling the Ministry. Umbridge herself is smug, wearing her characteristic pink cardigan and the glittering golden locket that Harry immediately recognizes as the Horcrux. Harry and Hermione overhear her leading a Muggleborn registration hearing, where innocent witches and wizards are being interrogated and accused of stealing magic. The cruelty and hypocrisy make Harry's blood boil, and Hermione trembles with barely contained anger. When Umbridge takes a short recess, Harry uses his opportunity to stun both her and her associate, Yaxley, who enters unexpectedly. Hermione swiftly retrieves the locket, and together they free the terrified Muggleborn prisoners. The chaos of alarms and shouts fills the Ministry as their actions are discovered. Meanwhile, Ron, still disguised, reappears, drenched in panic from his supposed leak-fixing assignment. The trio scrambles to escape as magical alarms ring and guards rush toward them. Papers swirl through the air, enchanted statues come to life, and disapparition points are being sealed off. In a desperate final moment, Harry grabs Ron and Hermione, and together they disapparate from the Ministry's corridors, barely escaping the tightening trap. Their surroundings twist and vanish into nothingness. Marking the end of their harrowing mission, the trio has succeeded in retrieving the locket, but it's clear their journey is far from over. Voldemort's shadow looms larger than ever, and the Ministry's transformation reveals just how deeply his power has spread. Key moments in the chapter include the trio's transformation using Polyjuice Potion, the first reveal of the Magic is Might statue symbolizing Muggle oppression, the Ministry's dark new regime and propaganda machine, the tense infiltration of Umbridge's office, the revelation that Umbridge wears the Horcrux locket, their chaotic escape from the Ministry as alarms blare, differences between the book and the movie. In the book, the infiltration scene provides much more tension and world building, showing the oppressive atmosphere of the Ministry. The movie condenses this section, making it more action-driven and skipping several emotional details. Like the prisoner's fear and the political propaganda, the statue description is far more disturbing in the book, emphasizing the horror of Voldemort's regime. The conversation with the Muggleborns is much more detailed in the novel, showing Hermione's compassion and Harry's fury. That wraps up Chapter 12, Magic is Might. This chapter marks a turning point in the trio's journey. Their courage is tested as they face the full weight of Voldemort's control over the wizarding world. The infiltration of the Ministry is both a thrilling heist and a chilling warning of what happens when fear and power intertwine. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're exploring Chapter 13 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the Muggleborn Registration Commission. This intense chapter thrusts us into the heart of a dark and twisted ministry, now fully under Voldemort's control. For Harry, Ron, and Hermione, this is one of their most dangerous missions yet. The chapter begins as the trio, disguised using Polyjuice Potion, arrives at the Ministry of Magic. Harry takes on the form of Albert Runcorn, a tall and intimidating ministry official. Hermione becomes Mafalda Hopkirk, a nervous-looking employee from the improper use of magic office, while Ron assumes the identity of Reg Cattermole, a maintenance worker. The ministry they enter is no longer the bustling, magical institution Harry once knew. The once golden fountain has been replaced by a horrifying black statue labeled Magic is Might, depicting wizards crushing muggles beneath them. It's a chilling symbol of Voldemort's New World Order, the dominance of purebloods over all others. Inside the atrium, security has become intense. Harry, Hermione, and Ron are forced to pass through a Muggleborn registration checkpoint, where officials use wands to scan newcomers. Their goal is clear: retrieve the Horcrux locket that they know Dolores Umbridge now possesses. As they move through the Ministry, each member of the trio faces unique challenges. Ron, disguised as Cattermole, is immediately pulled aside by Yaxley, who orders him to fix a water leak near the courtroom levels. Hermione, still adjusting to her new identity, is summoned to assist Umbridge in the Muggleborn Registration Commission hearings. And Harry, pretending to be Runcorn, uses his authority to navigate through the offices in search of the locket. The tension escalates as Harry and Hermione cross paths near Umbridge's office. Through a partially open door, they overhear Umbridge bragging about her blood purity and loyalty to the new regime. Around her neck, glittering in the lamplight, hangs the familiar golden locket, the same one once belonging to Salazar Slytherin. Realizing their target is within reach, Harry and Hermione plan their move. When they enter the courtroom, they witness the true horror of the Ministry's corruption. Muggle-born witches and wizards are chained to chairs, accused of stealing magic and being unfit to possess wands. The trials are sham proceedings, meant only to humiliate and condemn. Dementors hover near the ceiling, feeding on the despair. Dolores Umbridge presides with her usual cruel smile, now enhanced by a grotesque sense of power. On her robes glitters a cat-shaped brooch, and around her neck, the Horcrux locket pulses faintly. She claims it as a family heirloom from her pure-blood ancestors, an ironic twist that infuriates Harry. Unable to watch the injustice any longer, Harry acts. Casting a powerful stupefy, he stuns both Umbridge and Yaxley, who had joined her in the courtroom. In the confusion, Hermione snatches the locket from Umbridge's neck while Harry frees the Muggleborns. The trio uses disillusionment and quick thinking to escape the chaos that follows. As alarms ring and Ministry workers shout, Ron rejoins them, drenched and confused after being hexed by Yaxley. They hurry toward the atrium as the fireplaces are sealed off. Harry grabs hold of Hermione and Ron, and together they disapparate, narrowly escaping a storm of spells. As the Ministry collapses into panic, they reappear in the streets of London, shaken but alive. Hermione clutches the stolen locket, their hard-won prize and the next piece of Voldemort's shattered soul. But their victory is short-lived, as Ron suddenly collapses, splinched from the hurried escape. Key moments in the chapter include the trio's disguises. Harry is Runcorn, Hermione is Mafalda, and Ron is Cattermole. Infiltrate the Ministry. The Magic is Might statue, a terrifying symbol of wizard supremacy. Umbridge's cruelty, she leads sham trials against Muggleborns. The locket revealed, Umbridge unknowingly wears one of Voldemort's Horcruxes. Daring escape, the trio stuns Umbridge, rescues prisoners, and disapparates in chaos. Differences between the book and the Movie, the book provides a much more detailed look at the Ministry's atmosphere, oppressive, bureaucratic, and full of fear. Ron's splinching occurs right after their escape in the book but is shown differently in the film's pacing. In the book, Harry actually frees the Muggleborns. The movie skips this part. The Umbridge trial scene in the movie is shorter and less horrifying than the book's version. The Magic is Might statue description is much more vivid and symbolic in the text. The Muggleborn Registration Commission is one of the most suspenseful chapters in the Deathly Hallows, showing the extremes of corruption and cruelty that Voldemort's world has reached. It marks the trio's first major confrontation with evil outside Hogwarts and their first Horcrux victory. What did you think of this daring Ministry infiltration? Comment your favorite part of this chapter below, and don't forget to subscribe for more magical journeys with Boundless Books. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we journey through Chapter 14 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Thief. This chapter immerses us in the cold, lonely reality of life on the run, a world of suspicion, regret, and fading hope. The story begins with Harry and Hermione trying to carry on after Ron's explosive departure. The mood inside the tent is grim and silent. Hermione attempts to stay composed, reading from the tales of Beedle the Bard and researching Dumbledore's clues, but the absence of Ron hangs over them like a storm cloud. Harry feels the weight of leadership, guilt, and helplessness pressing down on him. They continue moving from one remote hiding place to another, deep forests, desolate hillsides, and frozen valleys, always fearful of being found. Hermione dutifully casts protective enchantments around each campsite, while Harry struggles with restless dreams and growing frustration. The Horcrux, still hanging around Harry's neck, seems to magnify every dark thought. He feels constantly on edge, haunted by Dumbledore's secrets and the growing mystery surrounding the Sword of Gryffindor. Hermione explains that the real sword could destroy Horcruxes because it has absorbed basilisk venom from the Chamber of Secrets. But then, where is it now? Harry remembers that the sword was last seen in the possession of the Ministry, but Griphook, the goblin, once mentioned that it was a fake. So who took the real sword, and why? As they sit by the fire one bitterly cold night, Hermione reads from Dumbledore's will once again, trying to find meaning in what he left them. Harry grows frustrated, every clue seems to lead nowhere. The isolation and hopelessness are wearing them both down. One night, Harry decides to take a walk outside to clear his head. Snow covers the forest floor, and the only sound is the crunch beneath his boots. Suddenly, he hears a faint rustle, a sound that doesn't belong to the wind. His instincts sharpen immediately. He draws his wand and peers through the darkness. There, near the edge of their protective enchantments, he spots a shadowy figure moving stealthily. The intruder is rifling through the underbrush, too close to their camp for comfort. Harry's heart pounds. He signals silently to Hermione, and together they extinguish the fire. The figure steps into a shaft of moonlight for an instant, but it's too dark to see the face. Whoever it is, they seem to be searching for something, and Harry realizes with horror that the object gleaming faintly in the person's hand looks like the Sword of Gryffindor. Harry bolts forward, shouting and firing a stunner, but the figure vanishes into the trees. A wild chase follows through the snow. The forest blurs around him as he tries to catch up, branches snapping and cold air burning his lungs. But when he finally reaches the clearing, the intruder is gone. No trace, not even footprints remain. Harry stands there, breathless and furious. Was it a trap? A hallucination? Or did someone truly try to steal the sword? Hermione catches up, but the intruder has vanished completely. She urges him to come back before the protective charms fail. As they sit again by the dim glow of the fire, Harry is filled with frustration and doubt. The sword, the one object that might destroy Horcruxes, has slipped away once again. The chapter closes on a note of weary tension. Hermione studies the ancient runes Dumbledore left behind, trying to find some meaning, while Harry stares into the darkness outside. The loneliness feels unbearable, and though neither says it aloud, both silently wonder if Ron will ever return. Key moments in the chapter include Ron's absence deepens. His departure continues to affect both Harry and Hermione, making their journey emotionally heavier. Wandering in isolation, the two move constantly to avoid capture, highlighting the bleakness of their mission. The Sword of Gryffindor mystery, Hermione explains why it can destroy Horcruxes and how the one at the Ministry was a fake. The mysterious intruder, Harry encounters a shadowy thief who tries to steal something, possibly the real sword. The growing strain, Harry's doubts about Dumbledore's guidance and the hopelessness of their task intensify. Differences between the book and the movie. The movie skips the chapter entirely. The thief encounter and forest scenes are condensed into later sequences. Hermione's detailed explanation about the sword's properties in Dumbledore's will are largely omitted. The eerie tension and emotional toll of Ron's absence are shown briefly in the film but are far more profound in the book. Chapter 14. The thief captures the essence of despair and uncertainty that defines this part of Harry's journey. The chapter doesn't offer clear answers. Instead, it deepens the mystery around Dumbledore's plan and the missing sword of Gryffindor. The sense of isolation and danger grows stronger, hinting that something monumental is approaching. What did you think of this mysterious chapter? Do you believe the thief was acting alone or part of something bigger? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boundless Books for more magical chapter explorations. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 15 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Goblin's Revenge. This chapter thrusts us into a harrowing and emotional turning point as the trio's fragile safety is shattered, leading to chaos, injury, and a tragic loss that forever alters their journey. The story opens with Harry, Ron, and Hermione still camping and on edge after Ron's departure. The tension between the remaining two is palpable. The absence of Ron hangs heavy over them. They continue searching for clues about the Horcruxes, but their efforts are fruitless, and despair begins to grow. The locket Horcrux continues to have a draining effect on their spirits, amplifying their sense of hopelessness. As they move from one hiding place to another, Hermione begins reading the life and lies of Albus Dumbledore again, troubled by the dark hints about Dumbledore's past. Harry, meanwhile, finds himself torn between anger and admiration for Dumbledore, struggling to understand why the late headmaster entrusted him with so little information. The book deepens their doubts but also hints that Grindelwald and Dumbledore's shared history might hold a key to finding the Deathly Hallows, though they don't yet know it. One night, while keeping watch, Harry sees figures approaching their campsite. He wakes Hermione, and they quickly prepare to flee, but before they can disapparate, they're ambushed. The attackers are Snatchers, bounty hunters working for the Ministry and the Death Eaters. Hermione, quick-thinking as ever, casts a protective charm to disguise Harry's features, swelling and bruising his face to hide his identity. The Snatchers, a rough, ragged group led by Scabier and including the notorious Fenrir Greyback, close in. Hermione tries to bluff that they are mudbloods and muggleborns on the run, but the Snatchers remain suspicious. They search the group's belongings and discover the Sword of Gryffindor, which instantly grabs their attention. Harry recognizes that they're in grave danger. The goblin Griphook, who's with them, identifies the sword as the real one from Gringotts, and that sparks arguments among the captors. In the chaos, the Snatchers begin arguing about what to do. Scabier wants to take them to the Malfoy Manor, a dangerous decision since that's where Voldemort's inner circle operates. Hermione and Harry try to protest, but their words fall on deaf ears. To make matters worse, Greyback, who's vicious and unpredictable, is clearly enjoying their fear. Suddenly, Voldemort's name is spoken, and as they now know, saying it breaks magical protections. The instant the name Voldemort is uttered, the taboo triggers, revealing their location to nearby Death Eaters. The air around them crackles with magic as they're surrounded and captured. It's a crushing blow. The trio, already weakened and demoralized, are completely at the mercy of their enemies. Before being taken away, they realize that they've been betrayed by the very magic they've relied upon for communication and caution. The Goblin's Revenge of the title refers not just to Griphook's sharp words and distrust toward wizards, but also to the chaos unleashed by the Snatchers' greed and Voldemort's forces' tightening grip. The chapter ends on a chilling cliffhanger as the Snatchers drag Harry, Hermione, and their companions toward Malfoy Manor. Harry's scar burns with unbearable pain, a sign that Voldemort is elated, perhaps sensing that he's about to reclaim something he desperately desires. The trio's journey has taken a dark, dangerous turn, and from this moment on, the stakes will rise higher than ever before. Key moments in the chapter include the growing despair and tension between Harry and Hermione after Ron's departure, Hermione's continued reading of Rita Skeeter's book, revealing troubling details about Dumbledore, the sudden ambush by Snatchers, highlighting the constant danger of the Wizarding War, Hermione's quick disguise spell to conceal Harry's identity, the discovery of the Sword of Gryffindor by the Snatchers, the accidental use of Voldemort's name, breaking their protective enchantments, the trio's capture and the ominous journey toward Malfoy Manor. Differences between the book and the movie. In the Deathly Hallows, Part 1 film, this sequence is merged with later scenes, altering the pacing. The book's version includes far more tension and explanation about how the taboo works, the magical trap set on Voldemort's name, and how it directly leads to their capture. In the film, the Snatcher's chase is portrayed as a fast-paced pursuit through the woods, with less emphasis on the underlying magic or emotional toll. The book also develops Griphook's role more deeply, foreshadowing his importance in the Gringotts heist, that wraps up Chapter 15, The Goblin's Revenge. This chapter marks the beginning of one of the darkest stretches in Deathly Hallows, as the trio's mission falters and danger closes in. The capture at the end sets the stage for the terrifying events at Malfoy Manor. Which moment from this chapter hit you the hardest, Hermione's quick thinking, or the shock of the capture? Tell us in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for Chapter 16, The Malfoy Manor. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're journeying through Chapter 16 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled Godric's Hollow. This haunting and emotional chapter takes us to the place where everything began, the birthplace of Harry Potter and the site of his parents' tragic deaths. What starts as a quest for answers becomes a chilling encounter with dark magic and lingering memories of love and loss. The chapter opens with Harry and Hermione preparing to travel to Godric's Hollow, the legendary village where both Godric Gryffindor once lived and where Lily and James Potter were killed by Voldemort. The night before, Harry dreams of finding the Sword of Gryffindor there and is filled with longing not just to find a Horcrux, but to visit his parents' graves. Hermione, though cautious, agrees, recognizing how important this is to Harry. Disguised under Polyjuice Potion, the pair arrive on Christmas Eve in the snow-covered village of Godric's Hollow. The place feels peaceful yet eerie, filled with glowing Christmas lights, distant carols, and a ghostly quiet. Harry is overcome with emotion as he sees the war memorial in the village square transform magically into a statue of himself as a baby in his mother's arms, with his father standing proudly beside them. It's a touching yet painful reminder of the lives that were lost and the legend that began here. They wander further and find the churchyard, where many old wizarding families are buried. Here, Hermione and Harry find the graves of Kendra and Ariana Dumbledore, deepening the mystery surrounding Albus Dumbledore's past. Then, finally, Harry discovers the grave of James and Lily Potter, marked simply with, "The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death." Overcome with grief, Harry clears the snow from their grave and silently cries, while Hermione gently conjures a wreath of flowers. It's one of the most human and tender moments in the series, a son mourning parents he never truly knew. Nearby, they notice another strange grave, that of the mysterious Peverell family, the same name engraved on the ring Horcrux. Hermione recalls that it's connected to the Deathly Hallows symbol, the triangle, circle, and line, but they still don't fully understand its meaning. As they leave the graveyard, they are approached by an old woman, Bathilda Bagshot, the author of A History of Magic, whom they hope to question about Dumbledore and the sword. She silently gestures for them to follow her. Harry feels uneasily compelled, believing Dumbledore might have trusted her. The woman leads them through the dark streets and into her decrepit home. Inside, the house smells foul and rotting. The silence is thick, broken only by faint hissing. Hermione whispers that something feels wrong, but Harry follows Bathilda upstairs. When they reach her bedroom, the old woman finally speaks, but in Parseltongue. Before Harry can react, Bathilda's body collapses, and Nagini, Voldemort's serpent, bursts out of her, revealing that the real Bathilda is dead and her body has been possessed by the snake. Chaos erupts as Nagini attacks Harry. Hermione races in, casting spell after spell to save him. The snake lunges repeatedly, and in the confusion, Voldemort himself senses Harry's presence through their connection. For a brief, terrifying moment, Harry experiences Voldemort's thoughts, his excitement, his triumph, his fury that Harry has come within his reach again. Just as Voldemort apparates to the scene, Hermione disapparates them both, saving Harry by mere seconds. They land violently in the forest, injured, disoriented, and terrified. Harry's wand has been broken in the struggle, and he is left in despair. They barely escape with their lives, and now they are more vulnerable than ever. The chapter ends on a haunting note. The dreamlike hope of finding peace in Godric's Hollow is turned into a nightmare of death, deception, and loss. The symbol of the Deathly Hallows, the mystery of Dumbledore, and Voldemort's growing power all weigh heavily on their minds. Key moments in the chapter include Harry and Hermione's journey to Godric's Hollow on Christmas Eve, the magical statue of the Potter family at the village memorial, the discovery of the Potters' graves and the emotional mourning scene, finding the Peverell gravestone linked to the Deathly Hallows. The encounter with Bathilda Bagshot, who was revealed to be possessed by Nagini, Voldemort's near arrival and Hermione's desperate escape, the shattering of Harry's wand, symbolizing vulnerability and loss, differences between the book and the movie. the statue of the Potters in the village square appears only in the book. The Bathilda/Nagini sequence in the film is more visual and condensed, with less dialogue. The Dumbledore grave subplot is shortened in the movie and the Peveril name is not emphasized as much. The emotional depth of visiting Harry's parents' graves is portrayed with more inner narration in the book, highlighting Harry's grief. That wraps up chapter 16, Godric's Hollow. This chapter beautifully blends emotion, horror, and mystery, reminding us how love endures even in the darkest places. What was the most haunting part of this chapter for you, the graveyard, Bathilda's house, or the loss of Harry's wand? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for chapter 17, Bathilda's Secret. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into chapter 17 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled Bathilda's Secret. This eerie and unforgettable chapter takes us deep into Godric's Hollow, where Harry and Hermione uncover a horrifying truth hidden behind the quiet walls of Bathilda Bagshot's home. What begins as a visit filled with nostalgia and mourning soon turns into one of the most terrifying encounters in the entire series. The chapter opens with Harry and Hermione disguised under Polyjuice Potion. Harry is a red-haired middle-aged man and Hermione is a younger woman. The snow-covered village of Godric's Hollow is peaceful and silent, the church bells ringing in the distance. It's Christmas Eve, and the streets are lined with candlelit windows. But beneath the beauty of the moment lies an undeniable tension. Harry feels a deep pull toward this place. It's where he was born, where his parents were killed, and where it all began. As they walk through the village, they see the war memorial in the square, a stone obelisk that magically transforms into a statue of James, Lily, and baby Harry when they approach. The moment is emotional. Harry feels an ache in his chest seeing the faces of his parents carved in stone, with baby Harry in Lily's arms. Hermione silently squeezes his hand, understanding the weight of the moment. They then find the churchyard, where they begin searching for the graves of Harry's parents. Hermione uses her wand to melt the snow off the tombstones, reading the names carefully. After several minutes of searching, Harry finds them, James Potter and Lily Potter, engraved beneath a simple epitaph: "The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death." The words strike Harry deeply. Hermione softly wipes her eyes, whispering that they mean something hopeful, but Harry feels a pang of bitterness. Death doesn't feel like something that can ever be destroyed. Nearby, they also spot the grave of Kendra Dumbledore and Ariana Dumbledore, connecting Dumbledore's family history to Godric's Hollow. It's another small, haunting revelation that makes Harry question how little he truly knew about Dumbledore. After a quiet moment by the graves, Hermione conjures a wreath of Christmas roses, placing it gently on James and Lily's grave. As they leave the cemetery, Harry notices an old woman watching them from afar. Her figure is bent and frail, her face hidden in the shadows, but something about her seems familiar and unsettling. The old woman motions for them to follow her, and Harry realizes she must be Bathilda Bagshot, the famous magical historian and Dumbledore's old neighbor. Hoping she might hold the answers about Dumbledore's past or even the Sword of Gryffindor, Harry and Hermione follow her through the snow to her small, dark house. Inside, the air is thick and stale. The house smells of decay, and a strange buzzing noise hums faintly from somewhere above. The walls are lined with photographs and old furniture, covered in dust. Bathilda does not speak, she only gestures for Harry to follow her upstairs. Hermione hesitates, whispering that something feels wrong, but Harry insists. His curiosity and desperation for answers overpower his fear. As Harry climbs the stairs after Bathilda, the house seems to grow colder. He notices the faint movement of flies and a dark stain on the wall. When they reach the upstairs room, Bathilda finally speaks, but her voice is soft and foreign. She calls him by name. Then, in a horrifying twist, the truth is revealed: Bathilda Bagshot is dead, and her body has been taken over by Nagini, Voldemort's snake. The disguise shatters. Bathilda's body collapses and the massive serpent bursts from within, lunging toward Harry. Voldemort's presence fills the room through a horrifying psychic connection. Harry sees flashes of Voldemort's thoughts, his anticipation, his fury, his triumph at finally cornering the boy who escaped him for so long. Hermione bursts into the room and casts spell after spell, her screams echoing through the dark house. The snake strikes, narrowly missing Harry, but she manages to pull him away and disapparates. They crash through the air, landing hard in the snow of an unknown forest. Gasping and disoriented, Harry lies trembling, his scar burning as Voldemort's fury explodes through his mind. For the first time, Harry sees Voldemort's perspective during his attack, the Dark Lord's rage at being denied his prey again, his hatred boiling as he strikes at Nagini's surroundings in frustration. When the vision ends, Harry is left shaking and weak, clutching his head. Hermione is sobbing beside him, terrified but relieved they escaped alive. She tends to his wounds and tries to calm him, her voice trembling. They realize Bathilda had been dead for some time, her body used as bait to lure Harry, a trap carefully set by Voldemort himself. The chapter closes on a chilling note. Their hope of finding clues in Godric's Hollow has turned into another narrow escape. For Harry, it's a brutal reminder of Voldemort's reach and cunning, and how close death truly is. Key moments in the chapter include Harry and Hermione visit Godric's Hollow under disguise on Christmas Eve. They see the Potter family memorial statue and Harry's emotions overflow. Harry finds his parents' grave, marked with the inscription, "The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death." They discover Dumbledore's family graves, revealing part of his secret past, the eerie encounter with Bathilda Bagshot, who turns out to be dead and possessed by Nagini, Voldemort's near arrival and Harry's terrifying mental link with him, their desperate escape from Godric's Hollow and the loss of all hope of finding the sword. Differences between the book and the movie. The book gives a longer, more emotional build-up in the graveyard, showing Harry's grief and Hermione's compassion. In the movie, Bathilda's house scene is heavily condensed and made more visual horror-oriented. The discovery of Dumbledore's family grave is omitted in the film. The inscription on James and Lily's tombstone and its deeper meaning are left out. Voldemort's point of view and Harry's shared vision are more detailed and psychological in the book, that wraps up Chapter 17, Bathilda's Secret. This chapter is one of the most haunting moments in the Deathly Hallows, blending mystery, grief, and horror in a single, unforgettable night. What did you think of Bathilda's terrifying reveal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time as we continue this magical and dangerous journey. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're exploring Chapter 18 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore. This chapter takes us deep into the mystery surrounding Dumbledore's past, a past that threatens to shatter Harry's image of his beloved mentor. The story opens in the forest where Harry, Ron, and Hermione are camping. The mood is uneasy. Ron has returned after his earlier departure, but tension lingers beneath the surface. One night, when the others are asleep, Harry takes out the copy of Rita Skeeter's sensational biography, The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore, that he received from Bathilda Bagshot's home. Curiosity mixed with confusion and hurt drives him to read. As Harry flips through the pages, Skeeter's words drip with venom and scandal. The book paints a version of Dumbledore that Harry can barely recognize: ambitious, power-hungry, and deeply flawed. Rita describes Dumbledore's early brilliance and his rise to fame as a young wizard after graduating from Hogwarts. But what catches Harry's attention most is the section about Dumbledore's family: his father, Percival, imprisoned for attacking Muggles, his mother, Kendra, who kept her daughter Ariana hidden, and the tragic explosion that killed Kendra. Skeeter claims that Dumbledore was secretly ashamed of his family and hid Ariana's condition, that she was uncontrollable and possibly dangerous due to a traumatic magical outburst in childhood. Then comes the revelation that after his mother's death, Dumbledore befriended a brilliant young wizard named Gellert Grindelwald, who was visiting Godric's Hollow. Together, the two dreamed of creating a world where wizards would rule over Muggles for the greater good. Harry is horrified as he reads about their shared vision of wizard dominance. According to Skeeter, the friendship ended tragically after a violent duel between Dumbledore, Grindelwald, and Dumbledore's brother Aberforth. A duel that resulted in Ariana's death. The book implies that Dumbledore's guilt drove him to turn away from power and dedicate his life to teaching. Harry feels an overwhelming mix of anger and sadness. The man he had trusted, the man who guided him through every challenge, now seems like a stranger. He remembers the way Dumbledore had avoided questions about his family and his youth. Why hadn't he told Harry the truth? Why had he kept so many secrets? When Hermione wakes and sees Harry reading, she tries to comfort him. She insists that Rita Skeeter's words can't be trusted, that the journalist twists facts to sell her stories. But Harry isn't so sure. He recalls the letter he found in Bathilda's house, a letter from Dumbledore to Grindelwald that seemed to support the idea of their friendship and shared ideals. The thought that Dumbledore once dreamed of Muggle domination is unbearable to him. The chapter closes on a somber note. Harry gazes into the fire, haunted by doubt and sorrow. The person he admired most may have been someone very different from the hero he believed in. The legend of Albus Dumbledore begins to crumble, replaced by a flawed, human truth that Harry doesn't yet understand. Key moments in the chapter include Harry reading the life and lies of Albus Dumbledore for the first time, revelation of Dumbledore's family tragedy, Ariana's accident and Kendra's death, Dumbledore's friendship with Gellert Grindelwald and their shared greater good ideology. The duel between Dumbledore, Grindelwald, and Aberforth leading to Ariana's death, Harry's shaken faith and emotional turmoil after learning these secrets. Differences between the book and the movie. The movie skips nearly all of Rita Skeeter's revelations in Dumbledore's family history. Dumbledore's friendship with Grindelwald and Ariana's story are only hinted at in the films. Harry's emotional breakdown after reading the book is also omitted, losing much of the depth of his internal struggle. The life and lies of Albus Dumbledore is one of the most introspective chapters in the series. It peels back the myth to reveal the man behind it. Through Harry's eyes, we see the pain of discovering that even heroes have shadows. But as we'll learn in later chapters, the truth about Dumbledore is far more complex than Rita Skeeter's twisted tales suggest. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like, subscribe, and share for more deep dives into the world of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're exploring Chapter 19 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Silver Doe. This hauntingly beautiful chapter is one of the most emotional and symbolic moments in the series, a tale of redemption, courage, and the mysterious magic of hope. Harry and Hermione are still camping deep in the Forest of Dean, lost and weary. It's a bitterly cold night when Harry takes the first watch while Hermione sleeps. His thoughts drift to Ron, guilt and loneliness weighing on him heavily. Then, in the silence of the forest, a glow catches his eye. Out of the shadows steps a doe made of silver light. It's breathtaking, graceful, and silent, a Patronus unlike any Harry has ever seen. Instinctively, he knows it's guiding him somewhere. The doe moves through the forest, and Harry follows, cautious but drawn to it by something deeper than reason. The creature leads him to a small frozen pond surrounded by trees. For a moment, it stands there, calm and unafraid, then vanishes, leaving behind only stillness. Harry peers into the icy water and sees it, the sword of Godric Gryffindor gleaming beneath the surface. The real sword, the weapon Dumbledore told him could destroy Horcruxes. He strips off his clothes and dives in, but the icy water grips him like death. Worse, the locket around his neck tightens, trying to strangle him. Harry thrashes, gasping for air, when suddenly, strong hands pull him out. Gasping, freezing, he looks up to see Ron Weasley. Ron's sudden reappearance shocks Harry. They sit by the fire, shivering and speechless at first. Ron looks embarrassed but determined. Harry is just relieved. He explains about the doe and the sword, but when he mentions Snape possibly sending it, Ron frowns uneasily. Then comes the moment they've been waiting for, destroying the Horcrux. Harry opens it with Parseltongue, and instantly, the locket releases a wave of dark energy. The Horcrux manifests Ron's worst fears, visions of Harry and Hermione together, whispering cruel lies. It mocks Ron's insecurities, telling him he's unwanted and forgotten. Enraged and hurt, Ron swings the sword of Gryffindor and destroys it in one powerful blow. The locket shatters, the illusions vanish, and Ron collapses, shaken but free. Harry reassures him that the visions were lies, born of fear and jealousy. Ron explains how the Deluminator Dumbledore gave him brought him back. When he used it, he heard Hermione's voice calling him, and a light guided him straight to Harry. It's a moment of redemption, the trio's bond restored. Key moments in the chapter include, the silver doe Patronus appears in the forest, leading Harry to the sword of Gryffindor. Harry nearly drowns as the Horcrux locket tries to kill him. Ron's heroic rescue of Harry, the emotional destruction of the Horcrux and Ron's confrontation with his inner demons, Ron's explanation of how the Deluminator guided him back, the heartfelt reconciliation between Harry and Ron. Differences between the book and the movie. The book builds more suspense and mystery around the silver doe. Ron's emotional struggle is more developed in the novel. The film visually dramatizes the Horcruxes' illusions, showing ghostly versions of Harry and Hermione. The novel hints that Snape sent the Patronus, setting up a major future revelation. The silver doe stands as a chapter of redemption and rekindled friendship. It symbolizes light in darkness, courage in despair, and forgiveness after conflict. Ron's return and the destruction of the Horcrux mark a new beginning for the trio, and a reminder that hope shines brightest when all seems lost. That wraps up Chapter 19, The Silver Doe. Sparkles, what did you think when the Silver Doe first appeared? Share your theories in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 20, Xenophilius Lovegood. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 20 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled Xenophilius Lovegood. This chapter takes us to the eccentric home of Luna Lovegood's father, where strange symbols, mystery, and hidden truths swirl around the trio as they search for answers about the mysterious Deathly Hallows. The chapter opens as Harry, Ron, and Hermione finally decide to visit Xenophilius Lovegood, Luna's father, hoping he can explain the strange symbol they've seen, a circle within a triangle with a vertical line through it, most notably worn by Xenophilius at Bill and Fleur's wedding. Operating near the Lovegood house, they find it perched atop a high hill. Shaped like a black, crooked tower, surrounded by odd, fluttering plants and wind chimes shaped like dirigible plums. The setting feels whimsical, yet eerily lonely. Inside, they are welcomed by Xenophilius himself, eccentric and jittery as ever. His clothes are mismatched, and his demeanor shifts between friendliness and anxious distraction. The trio immediately notices that Luna isn't there, and though Xenophilius insists she's down by the stream, his nervousness raises suspicions. Still, they're focused on the real reason for their visit, the symbol. Hermione quickly brings it up, showing him the copy from the Tales of Beedle the Bard. Xenophilius reveals that it represents the Deathly Hallows, 3 legendary magical objects that make their possessor the Master of Death. He begins explaining the ancient story behind them: 1. The Elder Wand, unbeatable in combat; 2. The Resurrection Stone, which can summon the dead; 3. The Invisibility Cloak, which can hide its wearer even from death itself. He describes them with fascination, claiming the Hallows truly exist, not just as children's fables. Hermione, ever the skeptic, dismisses his claims, while Ron is enthralled, and Harry finds himself strangely drawn to the idea, especially the invisibility cloak, which seems exactly like his own. However, something feels wrong. The usually quirky but kind Xenophilius appears increasingly tense and jittery. His printing press is silent, his eccentric home cluttered with strange magical contraptions, and the air feels heavy. The trio gradually realizes that Xenophilius is under immense stress, and that Luna's absence is not as innocent as he claimed. Hermione's sharp eyes spot that the Quibbler has changed. Once known for supporting Harry, it now runs anti-Harry propaganda. Xenophilius looks ashamed but confesses he had no choice. The Death Eaters have taken Luna. To get her back, he's agreed to hand Harry over to them. Before they can react, a loud crack sounds outside. Death Eaters have arrived. Xenophilius, desperate and panicked, tries to delay them, while the trio hides upstairs. The chaos intensifies when one of Xenophilius's dangerous magical devices, the Erumpent Horn, explodes, destroying part of the tower. Seizing the moment, Harry, Ron, and Hermione disapparate just in time, escaping as the house collapses behind them. As they reappear in a forest, shaken but unharmed, the trio processes what they've just learned, both about the Hallows and about how far the Death Eater's reach extends. Harry, now obsessed with the Hallows, feels a deep connection between his cloak and the legend, setting the stage for his growing inner conflict between the quest for Horcruxes and the lure of the Hallows. Key moments in the chapter include the trio's visit to Xenophilius Lovegood's eccentric, tower-like home, the eerie atmosphere and Luna's suspicious absence, Xenophilius's explanation of the Deathly Hallows and their 3 parts, the revelation that Luna has been captured by Death Eaters, Xenophilius's desperate betrayal attempt to save his daughter, the Erumpent Horn explosion and the trio's narrow escape. Differences between the book and the movie. In the film, Luna's father and the Hallows symbol are introduced in a more condensed version. The Erumpent Horn explosion and the chaotic escape are omitted from the movie. The emotional tension of Xenophilius's betrayal, driven by love for his daughter, is much stronger in the book. The Deathly Hallows explanation in the film is stylized as an animated sequence narrated by Hermione, while in the book, it's a tense, word-driven revelation that wraps up Chapter 20, Xenophilius Lovegood. This chapter is a turning point, revealing the mystery of the Deathly Hallows while showing how deeply the war has twisted even kind-hearted people like Xenophilius. It also deepens Harry's internal struggle between following Dumbledore's mission and chasing the power of the Hallows. What did you think of Xenophilius's choice? Was he right to risk everything for Luna, or should he have trusted Harry? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe. And join us next time for Chapter 21, The Tale of the Three Brothers. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're exploring Chapter 21 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Tale of the Three Brothers. This chapter is one of the most magical and revealing moments in the entire series, where the legend behind the Deathly Hallows is first introduced through a fairy tale that turns out to hold a deep, real-world significance. The chapter begins with Harry, Hermione, and Ron visiting Xenophilius Lovegood, Luna's eccentric father, to find answers about the strange symbol they've seen, the same one worn by Victor Krum and marked on Dumbledore's letter. They hope that Mr. Lovegood, editor of the Quibbler, can explain its meaning. As they sit in the odd, cluttered house, Harry notices that Luna is nowhere to be seen, and her absence feels unusual. Xenophilius, with his wild white hair and eccentric clothes, seems nervous and distracted. Still, he welcomes them and begins talking about the symbol. He tells them it represents the Deathly Hallows, a concept the trio has never heard before. At this point, Xenophilius fetches an old, worn book, The Tales of Beedle the Bard. Hermione recognizes it immediately. It's the book Dumbledore left her in his will. Xenophilius opens to a story titled The Tale of the Three Brothers, and Hermione reads it aloud to everyone. The tale describes three brothers who cheat death by building a bridge across a dangerous river. Death, angry at being tricked, pretends to congratulate them and offers each a prize of their choosing. The eldest brother, arrogant and power-hungry, asks for a wand more powerful than any other, the Elder Wand. The second brother, longing for lost love, requests the power to bring back the dead, and receives the Resurrection Stone. The youngest brother, humble and wise, asks for something that will allow him to avoid death forever, and receives the Invisibility Cloak. The first brother is murdered in his sleep for his unbeatable wand. The second brother resurrects his lost love, but she is cold and lifeless, a shadow of her former self, and he kills himself in grief. Only the third brother lives a long, full life, hidden from death under his cloak, until he finally removes it and greets death as an old friend. When Hermione finishes, there's a reflective silence. The story sounds like a fairy tale, but Xenophilius insists that it is true and that the Hallows are real. He explains the symbol. The triangle represents the cloak, the circle represents the stone, the line represents the wand. Together, they form the Deathly Hallows. Three magical objects that make their possessor the master of death. Hermione immediately argues that it's nonsense, just a story, but Ron and Harry are intrigued. Xenophilius becomes more agitated, speaking about how people have hunted for the Hallows for centuries. He says that the Elder Wand has appeared throughout history as an unbeatable wand, changing hands through murder or conquest. The Resurrection Stone, he claims, was engraved with the same symbol as the Hallows, and the cloak, he suggests, has been passed down through generations, perhaps even to someone they know. As they discuss this, Harry's thoughts race. He remembers how his father's cloak perfectly hides him from view, even from death itself. Could it be the third Hallow? But before they can ask more, Harry notices Xenophilius behaving strangely. He keeps glancing at the window, nervous and twitchy. When Harry asks about Luna, Xenophilius panics. He stammers that she's down at the stream, catching plimpies, but Harry sees something in his expression, fear. Moments later, they realize why. He has summoned the Death Eaters. Xenophilius confesses in desperation that the Death Eaters took Luna weeks ago. They're holding her captive in exchange for his cooperation. He's now trying to hand over Harry, hoping to save his daughter. The trio scrambles to escape as the Death Eaters appear outside the house. Hermione reacts quickly, blasting the printing press to pieces, creating chaos. In the confusion, she apparates them away just as the house explodes behind them. The chapter ends with Harry's heart heavy with guilt and sorrow, realizing that even Luna, one of their kindest friends, has become a victim of the war. But it also leaves him haunted by what they've learned, that the Deathly Hallows might be more than a myth, and that he, somehow, might already possess one. Key moments in the chapter include: the trio visits Xenophilius Lovegood's home seeking answers. Hermione reads the tale of the three brothers aloud. The concept of the Deathly Hallows is revealed. Harry connects the story to his invisibility cloak. Xenophilius betrays them, trying to turn Harry over to the Death Eaters. Hermione saves the group by escaping through apparition. Differences between the book and the movie. In the movie, the story of the three brothers is shown through a beautiful animated sequence rather than Hermione reading it aloud. The betrayal by Xenophilius and the Death Eater confrontation are shortened significantly in the film. The movie does not show the full discussion about the meaning of the Hallows or Harry's realization about his cloak. The emotional tension about Luna's capture is hinted at but not fully explained as in the book. That wraps up chapter 21, The Tale of the Three Brothers. This chapter marks a turning point in the story, introducing the mysterious and powerful Deathly Hallows, which will shape the rest of Harry's journey. It blends myth, magic, and destiny in a way that only J.K. Rowling could, showing that fairy tales sometimes hide deep truths. What do you think? Are the Deathly Hallows truly real, or just a wizarding legend? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time as we continue our journey through Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're delving into chapter 22 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Deathly Hallows. This chapter unveils one of the most significant revelations in the series, the origin of the Deathly Hallows, and how this legend ties directly to Harry's destiny. The chapter opens quietly in the trio's tent. After narrowly escaping from Lovegood's house and realizing that even their allies might endanger them, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are recovering. Hermione is reading from the Tales of Beedle the Bard, the collection Dumbledore left her. She has reached the story titled The Tale of the Three Brothers, and the tone shifts from the dreary real world to the realm of legend. Hermione begins to read aloud. The tale tells of three brothers who cheat death by magically creating a bridge across a treacherous river. Death, angry but cunning, pretends to congratulate them and offers each a gift. The eldest brother, arrogant and power-hungry, asks for a wand that could defeat any opponent and receives the Elder Wand. The second brother, longing for lost love, requests the power to bring the dead back and receives the Resurrection Stone. The youngest brother, humble and wise, asks for something that would allow him to evade death himself and receives the Invisibility Cloak. Hermione's voice softens as she concludes, the first brother was murdered for his wand. The second took his own life in despair, and the third lived a long life before greeting death as an equal. The tent falls silent. Ron remarks that it's just a fairy tale, but Harry is transfixed. The story feels too real, too connected to what they've been through. Harry points out that he's seen the symbol of the Hallows, the triangle enclosing a circle with a vertical line, before, most notably on Xenophilius Lovegood's necklace, and even in Dumbledore's old letters. Hermione insists it's just a symbol used by followers of Grindelwald, but Harry begins to suspect otherwise. As they discuss, the pieces start to come together. Dumbledore left Hermione the book, left Harry the snitch, and Ron the Deluminator. Were they clues to something bigger? Could Dumbledore have been hinting at the Deathly Hallows, the ultimate magical items, the Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, and the Invisibility Cloak? Hermione, ever logical, is skeptical. She argues that it's just a story and warns Harry not to get lost in myth. But Harry feels a deeper truth, especially since he possesses one of the supposed Hallows, his father's cloak. He begins to believe Dumbledore wanted him to discover the Hallows for a reason. The argument intensifies as Ron sides with Hermione, thinking Harry's obsession could distract them from their true goal, destroying Horcruxes. Harry, however, feels the pull of destiny stronger than ever. The Hallows, he believes, could give him a way to finally defeat Voldemort. The storm outside the tent mirrors the rising tension within. The trio sits in uneasy silence, each lost in their thoughts. Harry turns over the snitch Dumbledore left him, feeling that its inscription, "I open at the close," must hold a deeper meaning connected to the Hallows. The chapter ends on a mysterious and foreboding note, with Harry more determined than ever to uncover the truth behind the Deathly Hallows. While the fragile unity among the trio begins to crack once again. Key moments in the chapter include, Hermione reads the tale of the three brothers from the Tales of Beedle the Bard. The legend of the Deathly Hallows is introduced. Elder Wand, Resurrection Stone, and Invisibility Cloak. The trio debates whether the story is real or myth. Harry realizes he has seen the Hallows symbol before. Harry begins to believe Dumbledore intended them to find the Hallows. Differences between the book and the movie. The book provides much more detail about the trio's discussion of the Hallows meaning. Harry's growing obsession with the Hallows and his emotional tension with Ron and Hermione are deeper in the book. The film visualizes the three brothers' story beautifully but simplifies the conversation afterward. That wraps up Chapter 22, The Deathly Hallows. This chapter changes everything, blending fairy tale and destiny in one haunting revelation. Which Hallow would you choose, the Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, or the Invisibility Cloak? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 23, Malfoy Manor. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 23 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled Malfoy Manor. This chapter marks one of the darkest and most gripping parts of the book, where the trio's luck runs out, and they fall into the hands of their enemies at the dreaded home of the Malfoys. It's a chapter packed with fear, courage, and sacrifice, setting the stage for one of the most emotional rescues in the entire series, the capture. The chapter opens with the trio, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, reeling from their narrow escape from the Gringotts' break-in aftermath and their previous dangers. They are hiding in the countryside, worn out and anxious. However, their cover is finally blown. As they try to decide their next move, a group of snatchers, bounty hunters working for Voldemort's regime, appears and captures them. Harry, who is still under the effects of the Polyjuice potion, looks disfigured, but when the snatchers notice his lightning-shaped scar, they begin to suspect that they've caught the Harry Potter. Hermione quickly uses her wit to cast a stinging hex on Harry's face, distorting his features further to delay their recognition. Still, the snatchers are unsure but decide to take the trio to the Malfoy Manor, the headquarters of Voldemort's inner circle, hoping for a reward. At Malfoy Manor, once inside the manor, the trio is brought before Lucius and Narcissa Malfoy, who are joined by Bellatrix Lestrange. Lucius, desperate to regain favor with Voldemort, is eager to prove that the captives are indeed Harry Potter and his friends. Bellatrix, however, is more cautious and suspicious. When Bellatrix notices the sword of Gryffindor among the captured items, she becomes frantic. She knows that the sword was supposed to be stored in her Gringotts vault, and its presence here makes her panic. Could someone have broken into her vault? She immediately orders the snatchers to be thrown into the cellar and demands to interrogate Hermione alone. Lucius hesitates, wanting to confirm Harry's identity first, but Bellatrix is too furious to listen. She locks the others in the cellar, where Harry and Ron find Luna Lovegood, Dean Thomas, Ollivander the Wandmaker, and Griphook the Goblin, all imprisoned by the Malfoys. Hermione's torture, above them, screams echo through the manor. Bellatrix is torturing Hermione with the Cruciatus Curse, demanding to know how she came by the sword of Gryffindor. Hermione, despite the unbearable pain, bravely sticks to the lie that it is only a copy. Harry and Ron are beside themselves with panic. Desperately trying to find a way out, Harry summons Dobby, the house elf who once served the Malfoys but is now free. Harry asks him to take Luna, Dean, Ollivander, and Griphook to safety at Shell Cottage, Bill and Fleur Weasley's home. Dobby agrees and vanishes instantly to begin the rescue, the duel and rescue. Meanwhile, upstairs, Draco is ordered to confirm Harry's identity, but he hesitates. His fear and guilt are palpable. He doesn't want to be the one to hand Harry over to Voldemort. As Bellatrix continues to torture Hermione, Harry and Ron break free thanks to Dobby's return and a well-timed distraction. A fierce fight breaks out in the manor. Harry wrests wands from the captors, including Draco's, while Bellatrix seizes Hermione and threatens to kill her if they don't drop their weapons. Just then, Dobby appears again, brave and determined. He snaps his fingers, causing the chandelier above Bellatrix to crash down, freeing Hermione and allowing the others to disarm the Malfoys. Bellatrix shrieks in rage as the captives prepare to disapparate. Dobby's sacrifice. In the chaos, Dobby grabs hold of Harry and the others, preparing to apparate them away to safety. But as they vanish, Bellatrix hurls her knife and it finds its mark. They arrive on the beach near Shell Cottage, safe at last, but Dobby collapses, fatally wounded by Bellatrix's knife. Harry cradles him in his arms as the little elf whispers his final words, "Such a beautiful place to be with friends." Then, Dobby dies, free and heroic. Harry is devastated. He digs Dobby's grave by hand, refusing to use magic, to honor the elf who saved them all. As dawn breaks over the sea, the mood is somber yet resolute. The war has claimed another brave soul, and Harry feels the weight of every sacrifice. Key moments in the chapter include the trio's capture by snatchers and their arrival at Malfoy Manor, Hermione's torture by Bellatrix Lestrange, the reunion with Luna, Dean, Ollivander, and Griphook in the cellar, Dobby's courageous rescue, defying his former masters, the death of Dobby, one of the most emotional moments in the series. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, Dobby's rescue mission is longer and more detailed, showing his bravery more vividly. The torture of Hermione is more psychologically intense in the novel, while the movie shortens it. The presence of Dean Thomas and Griphook in the cellar is omitted in the film. Harry digging Dobby's grave by hand is described in moving detail in the book but shortened in the movie. That concludes Chapter 23, Malfoy Manor, one of the most emotional and defining chapters in the entire series. It's a moment where courage meets tragedy, and the loss of Dobby reminds us that even the smallest among us can make the greatest sacrifices. What did you think about Dobby's final act of bravery? Did it make you tear up too? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next chapter of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 24 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled The Wandmaker. This chapter opens with one of the most emotional scenes in the series and quickly becomes a turning point in Harry's understanding of wand lore, trust, and the direction of his journey. The chapter begins on the quiet, windswept beach outside Shell Cottage, where Harry personally digs Dobby's grave. Determined to honor the elf without magic, he works by hand until the grave is complete. Ron and Dean help gather stones while Luna offers a soft blessing for Dobby, bringing a peaceful ending to the sorrow. Harry reflects on Dobby's bravery and the cost of the war. Feeling the weight of responsibility settle even more heavily on him, inside Shell Cottage, the atmosphere shifts from grief to strategy. The survivors from Malfoy Manor, including Ollivander and Griphook, are recovering. Bill and Fleur offer refuge, but the tension in the trio grows as they debate their next step. Harry begins to realize that he needs both information and guidance, not just from Dumbledore's memories, but from those who hold secrets about wands and wizardkind. Harry first approaches Griphook, the goblin who escaped with them. Goblins are known for their sharp judgment and even sharper mistrust of wizards. Harry asks about breaking into Gringotts, specifically Bellatrix Lestrange's vault. The goblin listens carefully, his black eyes glinting with suspicion and curiosity. Griphook eventually agrees to consider helping, but only at a steep price. Though he does not reveal it fully yet, it's clear that he sees an opportunity for leverage. His interest in the Sword of Gryffindor foreshadows complications to come. Next, Harry turns to Mr. Ollivander. The Wandmaker looks frail and worn, a shadow of the confident craftsman Harry once knew. Yet his mind remains sharp. As Harry questions him about wand allegiance, Ollivander explains that wands can shift loyalty when won from their masters, a concept Voldemort desperately seeks to understand. Ollivander confirms that Voldemort fears the power of Harry's wand because it acted of its own accord during their encounter. Ollivander's revelations deepen Harry's understanding of the Elder Wand. Although Ollivander does not know all of the wand's secrets, he recognizes its legendary status and confirms that Voldemort is pursuing it relentlessly. These answers confirm Harry's worst fears. Voldemort is closer than ever to acquiring the unbeatable wand. As the conversations unfold, Harry quietly realizes that following Dumbledore's vague clues is not enough. He needs to make his own decisions, trust his instincts, and choose his own path. This marks an important moment in his growth. He is no longer just following a plan, but becoming a leader. Toward the end of the chapter, Harry steps outside Shell Cottage, letting the cold wind clear his thoughts. He feels both the weight of grief for Dobby and a new sense of direction forming. The knowledge he gained, from Griphook's interest to Ollivander's insights, pushes him toward a new idea: infiltrating Gringotts to retrieve another Horcrux. The chapter closes on Harry's renewed determination, setting the stage for one of the most daring missions in the series. Key moments in the chapter include Dobby's burial, a moving farewell that reinforces Harry's compassion and loyalty. Griphook's suspicion, his growing interest in the Sword of Gryffindor sets up future conflict. Ollivander's wand knowledge, crucial insights into wand allegiance and the Elder Wand. Voldemort's pursuit, confirmation that Voldemort is closing in on the Elder Wand. Harry's new resolve, a defining moment in Harry's journey toward independent leadership. Differences between the book and the movie. The movie shortens Dobby's burial and removes much of Harry's internal reflection. Shell Cottage discussions are condensed, with Griphook and Ollivander's explanation simplified. Harry's growing realization about leadership and instinct is more subtle in the film. In conclusion, The Wandmaker is a quiet but powerful chapter, filled with grief, revelation, and renewed determination. What was your favorite moment from this chapter? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more magical journeys ahead. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today we're diving into Chapter 25 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled Shell Cottage. This chapter offers a much-needed pause after the intense escape from Malfoy Manor, grounding the trio in a moment of healing, grief, and crucial decision-making as they prepare for the next stage of their journey. The chapter begins with Harry, Ron, Hermione, and the rescued prisoners arriving at Shell Cottage, a small and peaceful home on the edge of the sea belonging to Bill and Fleur. Their arrival is emotional. Hermione is unconscious after her torture, Luna and Dean are exhausted, and Harry's mind is consumed by Dobby's death. Inside the cottage, Fleur immediately begins tending to Hermione, while Bill helps the others settle and ensures they are safe, but Harry cannot rest. The grief of losing Dobby weighs heavily on him. The house elf died saving them, and Harry feels a fierce responsibility to honor that sacrifice. He decides, quietly and firmly, that he will bury Dobby without magic. This choice becomes one of the most symbolic acts in the entire series, Harry laboring with his own hands for someone who gave everything to protect him. On the beach, Harry, Ron, and Dean begin digging the grave. The sand is wet and heavy, the work exhausting, but Harry insists on doing it all without spells. Luna and Bill join them, providing comfort in silence. Finally, once the grave is complete, they wrap Dobby's small body in a blanket and gently lower him in. Luna speaks kind words, a blessing that feels both soft and powerful. They mark the spot with smooth stones and place a simple inscription, "Here lies Dobby, a free elf." Inside Shell Cottage, the atmosphere is warmer but tense. The rescued Mr. Ollivander and Griphook are recovering, but both are deeply shaken by their time in Malfoy Manor. When Harry goes to speak with Ollivander, the Wand Maker reveals crucial information. Voldemort is searching for the Elder Wand, part of a legend Harry has only recently begun to understand. It becomes clear that Voldemort believes a greater wand is needed to defeat Harry, and he is dangerously close to finding it. Harry's conversation with Griphook is equally important. The Goblin reveals that Godric Gryffindor's sword is a powerful object because it absorbs the qualities of what strengthens it, explaining why it can destroy Horcruxes. But Griphook's expression changes when Harry asks about Gringotts. Something in Bellatrix Lestrange's vault has frightened her deeply, and Harry begins piecing together the idea that a Horcrux may be hidden there. However, Griphook does not offer help without cost. And a silent, uncertain bond begins to form between them. As Hermione recovers, the trio reflects on what happened in Malfoy Manor, especially the torture she endured. Her strength and resilience impress both Ron and Harry, but the danger of their mission becomes painfully clear. If they continue, there is no guarantee all of them will survive, but something has shifted inside Harry. The grief he carries from Dobby's death becomes clarity. Standing on the beach after sunset, gazing at the endless horizon, he realizes their path forward. They must continue the hunt for Horcruxes, and the next step lies in breaking into Gringotts. For the first time, Harry stops waiting for Dumbledore's guidance. Dobby's grave becomes a turning point. Harry chooses his own direction with renewed purpose. Key moments in the chapter include arrival at Shell Cottage, the trio and rescued prisoners reach safety after the chaos of Malfoy Manor, Dobby's burial, Harry digs the grave by hand, symbolizing loyalty, love, and respect, Luna's comforting words, her gentle tribute at Dobby's burial brings a peaceful farewell. Ollivander's revelation, Voldemort is searching for the Elder Wand, confirming Harry's fears. Griphook's insight, the truth about Gryffindor's sword and the suspicious treasure in Bellatrix's vault, Harry's turning point. He decides to continue the Horcrux mission with his own judgment, not relying on Dumbledore's past guidance. Differences between the book and the movie. Dobby's burial scene. The movie skips Harry digging the grave by hand, which is one of the most powerful symbolic moments in the book. Ollivander's conversation, the detailed explanation of wand lore and the Elder Wand is far more in-depth in the book. Griphook's negotiation, the book includes a careful, tense build-up to Griphook's cooperation, whereas the movie shortens this tension. Shell Cottage atmosphere, the book spends more time showing healing, recovery, and emotional reflection compared to the movie's fast pacing. Harry's reflection, his emotional and psychological transformation at Dobby's grave is much clearer in the book. That wraps up Chapter 25, Shell Cottage. This chapter stands out as a powerful blend of grief, healing, and clarity. Dobby's burial shifts Harry emotionally into maturity, and the crucial information from Griphook and Ollivander sets the trio on a new and dangerous path. With renewed determination, Harry is ready to face the next step, breaking into Gringotts. What part of this chapter moved you the most? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me next time for Chapter 26. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we dive into Chapter 26 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, titled Gringotts. This chapter launches us into one of the most daring and breathtaking missions of the entire series, the break-in at the Wizarding Bank, Gringotts. With danger on every side, Harry, Ron, and Hermione take one of their biggest risks yet to retrieve a crucial Horcrux. The chapter begins at Shell Cottage, where the trio consults with Griphook after deciding to infiltrate Gringotts in search of Helga Hufflepuff's cup. Griphook agrees to help on the condition that he gets the Sword of Gryffindor afterward. Distrust simmers beneath the surface, but the trio accepts his terms. Knowing they have no other way in, as dawn breaks, Hermione takes Polyjuice Potion and transforms into Bellatrix Lestrange. Her disguise is flawless, though her nervous expression undermines the terrifying persona of the real Bellatrix. Harry and Griphook hide under the invisibility cloak, while Ron adopts a disguise to appear unrecognizable. Together, they apparate into Diagon Alley, setting the stage for one of their boldest operations. Security at Gringotts is tighter than ever. The entrance is guarded by wary goblins, detecting charms, and wand checks. Hermione attempts to play the role of Bellatrix, but her hesitation raises instant suspicion. The goblins sense that something is wrong, and panic slowly spreads. Only by using the Imperious Curse, something Harry has never done before, can they force their way past the guards and deeper into the bank. Riding the cart through the underground tunnels is dizzying and dangerous. The atmosphere becomes even more foreboding as waterfalls, known as the Thief's Downfall, crash onto the cart. The water strips away all enchantments, including Polyjuice Potion and invisibility, exposing them completely. Their cover is blown. Inside the Lestrange vault, the stakes rise again. The vault is enchanted with the Thief's Downfall curse. Anything touched multiplies instantly, burning hot and piling higher until it smothers the intruder. Golden artifacts fill the room rapidly as Voldemort's Horcrux, Helga Hufflepuff's cup, gleams from a high shelf. Harry spots it amid the avalanche of multiplying objects and manages to seize it with the help of the Sword of Gryffindor. With the alarm raised across the bank, the trio is trapped underground. Their only option is the massive Ukrainian iron-bellied dragon guarding the lower levels. The enormous creature, blind and chained, senses movement but is terrified from years of mistreatment. Harry acts on instinct, releasing the dragon from its restraints. The creature erupts in confusion and power. Now their desperate escape begins. The dragon climbs, smashing stone walls, blasting through tunnels, and finally bursting into the open sky with the trio clinging to its back. Sunlight floods the scene as Gringotts erupts into chaos behind them. The moment is breathtaking, one of freedom, risk, and uncertain futures. Key moments in the chapter: Hermione impersonates Bellatrix to enter Gringotts. Goblin suspicions rise, forcing Harry to use the Imperious Curse. The Thief's Downfall exposes them and removes all disguises. The Lestrange vault multiplies objects, creating a dangerous flood of cursed treasures. Harry retrieves Hufflepuff's cup, confirming it as a Horcrux. The trio escapes on the Ukrainian Ironbelly, breaking free into the open sky. Differences between the book and the movie: the book emphasizes the emotional tension between Griphook and the